So hello everybody, and welcome to another WARNO League semifinal. As we have another one going in here with Stahlbrecher versus Scoof, coming in with the pick has been here right into it, Chloride, and we see the first couple of maps here already falling on Stahlbrecher's side. A vertigo ban from our tank lover. That is surprising.
Hold on, I was still muting.
And
Yeah, I had an extra tab open. Yes, yeah, immediately Vertigo and Airport bans. I mean, Scoof is a very dangerous opponent on Vertigo. Like, I think the Vertigo being so much played and so predictable and so mechanics focused, really not really strategy focused, going against Scoof there is like it can be pretty intimidating considering the experience just stacks on top of the uh, thoroughly walked through map. And we're getting Surrounded and Kryde getting banned by Scoof. Surrounded being one of the newer maps, the one with the big plateau and a village on top of it. And Kryde being a kind of a casting favorite, I think, because of having so many different angles. We've been big fans of seeing games. Games on Cry that generally don't end quickly, and games on Surrounded don't really either, but I don't think that's necessarily the connecting tissue there. 4th Division, 5th Panzer getting banned away from Stahlbrecher, of course, pretty predictable. Those strongest Leopard 2 divisions are, if you're good at them, if you can micro the Leopards, if you have gotten accustomed to them, those the speed and acceleration can be a real increase in power.
yeah, and the NATO tank divisions in general, especially the European NATO tank divisions, are really strong in the hands of Stahlbrecher. Those are some of his best divisions, so it makes sense to ban them there. 20th Panzer and the new second Guards Motorstrelki being banned, and then 11th ACAF away from Scoof. All strong divisions as well. 11th ACAF, a division that Scoof has played in the past as well, whilst the second Guards here is an interesting ban. I'm not so sure about yeah, if that division is really that good if you can counterpick it. But as a counterpick, I think it is really good in some matchups with the new heaviest off tanks, the new TADUD that it gets. Whilst on the other side, we have one more ban remaining, and I would expect another one of the NATO tank divisions to fall here.
Yeah, I mean, could it just be that Stahl is unaware of second, doesn't really know how to play against it, doesn't have the muscle memory and the rhythm set up, so just kind of, just in case School has managed to get something really overpowered out there for the second, the first, yeah, it's the first packed second, I believe. So, just in case you want to put it out, the TATs are a huge problem. And all the units having Resolute is inherent, pretty significant buff, if you ask me. Of course, 11th Horse, 20th Panchana, those really aggressive and armored divisions. In the 11th Horse's case, you don't get the best the infantry staying power, but you can compensate with your support vehicles, whereas the 20th Panchana, I mean, everybody knows at this point, used to rule the WARNO competitive scene for some time. Deep Mob getting banned was not a European armored division. So which European armored divisions are left here? I mean, 8th Infantry is coming up for Stahlbrecher immediately as a Chandra pick.
Stahlbrecher, a favorite of the classics, an 8th US currently in a pretty good state. It has been buffed back into being pretty viable over time. The M60's got some buffs, the M1's got some buffs, the Ranger's got some buffs. The division is still a bit limited in its slots, like one of the most limited divisions there, but it has good options on each tab. So if you can finish a game within 30 to 35 minutes, you're pretty fine. The last 5 minutes can be a bit rough, because it can be that you just run out of frontline units at that point. So that is going to be interesting. Chandra, a map that goes pretty long usually, but you also have MR10s in that division. So if the other side picks a division with weaker armor, that can be quite painful here. Scoof currently planning on what to counterpick this with, and Yeah, I would expect the similarly heavy division with some heavier tanks, at least T-72s, and some good artillery as well here out of Scuf.
Yeah, it's very difficult to out tank 8th Infantry. So Scoof is probably thinking, am I gonna go all in aggro? Am I gonna pull out the 2nd UK, 4th Moto, 4th Mech, any of these like really just aggressive divisions that can out efficiency, can put out the combined arms earlier and thus prevent 8th Infantry from building up their own. But the problem is that Chandra, as I believe MDUC and a bunch of other Germans have been talking about this after MDU, in my experience, is that Chandra is an amazing map for 8th Infantry. It is so slow, there are no back points to be exploited. And the positioning of the zones basically means that it's very difficult to cut off reinforcement on a wider area. So no matter how the game goes, even if the game goes badly, 8th Infantry, even failing in the mid game or a bad late game, still can actually bring out the equipment because the way that the ticks and the map is designed. And I would still kind of predict that you said that there's going to be, maybe 79th, maybe even, 119th. Who knows? You could do both the aggro and the slow buildup. But I still am kind of feeling that Scoof is going to try to just like aggro it out. Somehow I feel like going against 8th Infantry on Chandra in a late game capacity is a little bit more risky.
Yeah, I actually would go with something from the Czechoslovaks, though. Like a 19th or so, though. That can go relatively aggressive, but that also has the fallback of good artillery. But here we go. Pick is being locked in. Ooh,
Ooh,
it's a
here's the
56.
aggro.
It is a pretty aggressive division that still can flood the game in the late, the battlefield in the late game. But yeah, the 56 for sure. The division with the more aggressive recon tab with pretty good combined arms when it comes to affordability. 8 will have to pick their fights carefully in the early game, but has the advantage of heavier tanks and heavy artillery in the later stages on the map.
Yeah, it's with good enough positioning. 56 has so many BMPs and good ATGMs, or decent enough ATGMs, not the best ones. That with good positioning, I think an early to mid game transition, the attack transition into a defense can be done by 56. But even then, I think Scoof is really just banking on the fact that with superior infantry, both the top and the bottom zones can be infantry contested at the same time. This is going to pull reinforcements away from 8th and points away from 8th actually building. So yeah, aggro sounds pretty nice on Scoop's part. Decent counter, probably wouldn't have figured out a better one myself. Mount River and second Panzergrenadier. So what do you think about this, Protoss?
This is a pretty narrow map. Second Panzergrenadier currently has a lot of airspan. Still, obviously, has some late game potential. What I would like to see from Shotbreaker is something with long range AA and decent enough tanks to beat second Panzergrenadier. And then I think you can grind down the tornadoes relatively efficiently. One of the issues that we have seen with Shotbreaker in the past is his anti-seed micro, so I'm a bit worried about tornado seeds running around with tornado bombers and just leveling the battlefield here. But still, I would like to see something like maybe 6 Motostrelki or so. Like 6 sounds like a good division here. So I feel like we might see a classic like 5th Blinde or the new version of 5th Blinde, because Stadtbrecher enjoyed that division quite a lot in the past, and that being the first Spanish, the Brunet division.
Yeah. I'd say the 5th Blinde would be a pretty predictable. I think the weaknesses of the French are countered by the small area of the map. The strengths, such as infantry, are infantry would be better than second Panzergrenadiers infantry, and the tanks would be enough to fight most of the fights. And the limited Leopard 2 tab can be dealt with helicopters, ATGMs, bombers, and just close-range AMX-30 engagements. So 5th Blinde would probably work out. Having the extra infantry fire support with the AMX-30 autocannons probably would not hurt as well, considering there's always going to be some like infantry fights where very few infantry units can basically block a lot of the fighting. So yeah, it's a Brunette. You were correct. It's a Spanish wannabe 5e. Why do you think it is the Brunette and not the original?
The better fighters. The F-18 fighters, I think, are the and they also have better accuracy on the tanks, so they fight the Leo 1A5s a lot more efficiently. They fight worse against the Leo 2s because they don't have anything with high pen on the tank tab, but they have the TOW 2 ATGMs there, so the Leo 2s are still something that you can manage there. And the F-18s give you some safety against the Tornadoes bombers on the other side if you manage them correctly. And yeah, you don't need to manage Rolands on the ground and have to risk them against seaplanes. So I think the Brunette makes more sense for where Stylebreaker's strengths and weaknesses lay in this one. And yeah, I feel like this makes also more sense because with the latest buffs, Brunette might also just be a bit better than 5th E in general.
Yeah, I mean the one thing that I could never deal with is losing the 750 meter AT weapons, which are so great. But when you're playing against the players like Scoof, they are going to be able to micro against that stuff anyways. And yeah, we get an Omen with 5th Blinde following right after Brunette.
Okay, so Stahl has locked down on his classic playstyle here. No big surprises here out of Stahl right here. The question is Omen really the right map for 5th Blinde? Because it is a pretty wide map with a lot of ambush potential for against your armor as well. But on the other side, your armor and your upper class infantry can get some nice ambushes off potentially as well. So it's something where Scoop has to pick the right choice here. But he has the counter pick, so I'm pretty worried for 5th Blinde's on Omen into a counter pick. But I feel pretty confident with Stadtbrecher's 8th infantry here, and I feel like the Brunette has a pretty good chance against the 2nd Panzer Committee as well. Oh wow, but Scoof going heavy on Omen? Okay, 9th Panzer, usually a really strong counter pick against 5th Blinde. The T-72s eat AMX-30s, but 9th Panzer is a pretty slow division that isn't amazing at spreading wide. So picking it on Omen is interesting. Black Forest into 79th Guards, that's a classic Scoof pick there as well. Okay, so we will see a lot of mechanized warfare today. Like, that's already a given. It wasn't to be expected any other way. Stadtbrecher being known for heavy mech play, Scoof usually going into a more mech-focused play as well, so this all makes sense, but yeah, what do you pick into the 79th on Black Forest?
This is a very difficult one. I was going to predict it go other way around, that Omen would be 79 and Black Forest would be 9th, but I guess we're just doing going to face down the French infantry aggro with Motorschützen, and then 79th on Black Forest, where maneuverability for your tanks is more relevant. That's where the better tanks come in. And okay, we're seeing it is 16th Belgian Panzer Division.
That's a really good division for Black Forest, in my eyes. But
it is 79th counter pick? Are you sure?
You have to play around its forward deployment part, and you have to be really quick with your air defenses, because if 79th gets its triple Su-24 or a cluster run on you, you're dead. And your air defenses aren't amazing at 60th Panzer, so you have to play it quite quick. But I get where he's coming from, and it is just a really good Stadtbrecher division there once more. He is going with his comfort picks, and Izura is the final map here, so blind pick on both sides here for the final one. That one is going to be interesting as well. As once more Izura as the last map. We had that in the last semifinal as well. We didn't quite get there. We only got 4 maps in there. Let's see if we get to the 5th map today in this best of 5. And I'm also interested to see. I would expect 2 more mech divisions because this is a pretty mech favored map as well. But I'm not sure what we're gonna see here. Okay, so I believe Stahlbrecher already has picked here. Scoof picking right now. Or we might be waiting for both sides here.
It says we're waiting on Scoof, but like the 16th Panzer Division as a counter pick to 79th, and then also on Black Forest, where you just, I mean, you get the free zone. The free zone is important, of course, but
Okay. Oh, this is a really hot one as well. I want to see that one as well. 7th Panzer versus the new British Home Defense Region London. And the question is, how much has Scoof played against this? Scoof is not in strike team, neither is Stahlbrecher here. So they didn't have as much time as maybe a couple of other players in the WARNO community had with testing these divisions out. So the division also changed a bit. It is quite capable in its mechanized warfare. It has better infantry than 7th Panzer at the same time. So 7th has to play around its T-72 core. And I feel like the British, unlike the French, especially after the latest buff to the Chieftain Mark 9s, are actually pretty capable of dealing with those T-72s thanks to the one card of challengers that they get in the deck as well.
yeah, 7th Panther doesn't get the best T-72s. It's actually, compared to a lot of the other ones, pretty low tech. And but how would you say HDR's air and AA tabs work out? Because 7th Panzer is known as the attack with the tanks and the air at the same time division, more aggressive than 9th or 79th, certainly, but also does get the, I mean, the Special Forces recon component is probably better with HDR London, but
You
do
get
they?
you get a great fighter tab, and you get the next gambling missile. I'm not a big fan of the Bloodhound, but it is okay against 7th, where the ECM is not amazing. And I'm also a big fan of like let's have a quick look on HDR, because I believe a lot of you haven't seen this division too much. This is the latest division added to the game, together with 2nd Guards, which just got banned on the other side, and they have this one fire, low 30% accuracy, high range, one-shot missile with 13 damage. It is pretty good, and they also on the other on the lower end have the Starstreak LML, which has 5 damage, good accuracy, and decent range against helicopter and aircraft as well. So I am pretty fine with their anti-air tab. I also think they beat the other side quite handily in infantry, because the guard is just kind of an upgrade of the Modschützen, and their tank tab can compete with the one of 7th Panzer. Obviously, 7th Panzer has more mid-quality tanks with those T-72s. It gets a lot of those out. But you have challengers which beat those, and you have the Chieftain Mark 9s which can compete, plus a lot of cheap tanks that you can spam around to deal with enemy BMP-1s and enemy light vehicles. So Chieftain Mark 1-4 can also fight the T-72s on the other side quite nicely. So this, if we get there, will be a really cool game as well. First one is going to be, though, 56 versus 8 infantry.
Protos,
So
Protos, can you show the SAS quickly? Because this being a classic piece of British aesthetic from the 1980s, and the reason why I wanted to show this is that, did you know that the combat vests of all of these guys were handmade out of suede leather?
No.
There was one guy who did them. This was the level of the British industry. There was a guy in a shed who made all of them by hand.
Well, that's how you support your local leather makers.
Yeah, and that's how you end up with the L-85, because you don't have industrial capacity to produce military equipment.
But yeah, 12 MP5s though, imported from, are pretty good SMGs there. And this is a really good infantry squad, so it will shred through all the units, including the special forces on the other side. Stahlbrecher is in session, so we should get a game here relatively soon. And yeah, let's get the gambling up as well there for the game number 1, as we will have the lovely map of Chandra. And we will have to ask if Starbreaker is going to win with 8 QS, or if Scoof can do it with his pretty strong 56 VDV as well. We have seen that division in the hands of Scoof dominate a lot of times in the past. It has been nerfed quite a bit since its dominant, or like overly dominant days though, but it is still one of the top divisions in the game. But 8 might be back up there as well.
Yeah, and really it's the Chandra question here, because on paper you would say, well, slow map, you got 4 zones to defend, all of them are like 1-point zones. You don't have the ability to bring out infantry fighting vehicles as an immediate hard counter to good infantry, but you do get good infantry. You get the Rangers, you can deploy them pretty quickly with the helicopters if need be, and the Rangers are going to be able to stand toe-to-toe with even the more specialized infantry of 56 VDV. The question really is that is the game going to last long enough for the M60s and M1s to actually build up a proper front line? Because at that point, I feel it's going to be a really tough order for even a very good division such as 56th to fight against these wide tank attacks that 8th US can really just perform very well in the late game. And I personally, often, I kind of do trolley bets to get people into the betting thing, points betting thing on Twitch. But I am going to officially state that I think Stahl has the better chance here, and that I believe Stahl is going to win the game.
Yeah.
That is my opinion.
It's also really cool to see both of these players once more in a semifinal. They have been around in the competitive scene for a while. Scoof always has been quite high up there, always has been eclipsed a bit by his fellow Russian comrade in Pro Comi. But he did beat him in the group stage this time around, and that brought him here into the playoffs and now into the semifinal. And Stahlbrecher had a good semifinal run last year as well. Then it was a bit too much for him there in the semifinal, but let's see if he can do it this time, because he has constantly improved since then as well. And his mech play is really refined. Plus, I feel like this time around, the meta is somewhat in his favor as well, and favoring his style of playing meta, which is a bit more, like, still relatively aggressive, but a bit slower than, for example, a Tiberius Rancor, who's always a bit reckless with his armored pushes. And the map pool, I feel like, fits him better than ever as well.
Yeah, you can join the game now. It's 45 seconds for a start.
So let's get in here and do it as a rehost. So everything back to 0. We are going back in here. They got the same sites as well. Yeah, thanks to Scoof there for being an honorable opponent and giving Stadtbrecher a rematch here. Yeah. Yeah, we are getting back into the match here. As have an honorable rehost here.
Yeah, so basically what happened here was that School seemed to be School strategy seemed to be basically an infantry attack into the middle town, and then using that town as an ATGM concave launching point, because you can and without all the infantry that Stahl had around, or without having any infantry on the Bravo, especially the aircraft troopers getting shot down, the aircraft troopers have the security trait, which gives them 1 extra point of recon, so they can kind of act as ersatz recon units in the front line. And not having any of these basically meant that it would not be possible to leave the central forest crossroad and move into the point of Foxtrot.
And
And
I also said they are on the same sides, but they're actually not. I just realized. Chandra
oh,
is confusing like that. Because I was like, yeah, there's a water tower on the bottom left, but then I remembered, no, there's a water tower on both hills, and it's always on the bottom left and the top right. So, yeah. Okay, so they're actually on the different sides now. Shouldn't be mattering too much because, yeah, Chandra is for the most part mirrored, and it's much more about fighting and taking the engagements and using the flanks in a particular way than which side you get on this map, especially because it is
there
built
was a
around it.
hilarious detail on the last game, which was that the M150 sent into the backlines face down an Mi-24 gunship. Both of them did damage to each other, but the M150 just kept going and survived the engagement. And I have a feeling that in the rematch, the Scoof is not going to allow that to happen. Maybe investing in just like one extra unit to cover the flanks. But yeah, with the side change, there's very little actually changing tactics wise, but our perspectives are just gonna be a little wonky.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting here as both sides now start to set up, and AGS is coming around again. Deployment
Yeah,
so far seems rather similar. I mean, it makes sense. Like both of those deployments were pretty solid. Ooh, we have the M150 immediately going for it again. Immediately trying to dive as deep as possible into the enemy rear here. And it's taking the furthest back corner roads here. There is a really, really deep backline road that goes all the way. It's on both sides. You have a similar road here on the other side going into the northern spawn on the blue side, southern spawn on the red side. And then you have a lot of other roads here that can go directly there too. Like the paths on the side are another interesting addition to this map that can lead to some sneaky successes. And yeah,
Autos, do German forests actually look like this? This like not that dense, not that high.
yeah. Like the number of paths is also relatively realistic because most of our forests are actually like the density is okay. It like the trees are a decent representation. Obviously, we have more like especially by now we have a lot more pine trees than this. Like they look a lot more like streamlined by just pine trees on pine trees in a good part of Germany. But there are a lot of paths that you can cross through and that just cut it into fine little scruffs. Like our forests are not untouched nature; they're really heavily managed and uh, used for economic purposes as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like Finnish forests are way more intimidating and don't look as much like fair Grimm's fairy tales story time as these forests do. Of course, most of Finnish forests are also extremely heavily managed, and actually they are not in as great condition as people would like to pretend they are. But you can't see that from the highway, and the places where people go and actually hang around in those forests, those are largely quite untouched.
Yeah, it's not quite the same in Germany. Like, it really, you can uh, usually find a path within like 300 meters, no matter where you land in the German forest. So that makes perfect sense that there are so many roads. Might be a bit over exaggerated here, but it makes for good gameplay.
Easy difficulty forests.
Yeah, easy difficulty forest. Like,
Yeah, we're seeing an extra the Plamias and Fog. Yeah, an extra Plamia going into the middle town. So far, does still seem the Met is also going in. Pretty similar, actually, like almost completely similar opener coming in from Scoof. No immediate changes in the plans, I don't think. And yes, Stahl is also doing the same, even sending the tank force and the two Rangers units into the same crossroad forests between Foxtrot and Bravo.
yeah, LRS here coming around, moving in solid positions. But yeah, Foxtrot and Bravo is going to be somewhat ignored this time. With only then the second wave coming in there. Like, the first wave actually not going there. So just relying on getting it. And I mean, Scoof will maybe get it, as there's only one LRS on the other side going there as well. But there's a lot of follow-up coming behind that LRS too. So the M60 and the Abrams here both going around Foxtrot as well. So the fight towards Bravo is going to be similar than what we saw in the last game. Meanwhile, center, same setup here from Stadtberg here, relying on LRS plus Ito. And I'm not sure if that's going to work out.
Yeah, I mean the big mistakes made by Stahl were about micro, where the aircraft troopers getting shot down, leaving there to be no infantry spotting in the ground, leaving all the tank investments to just kind of sit around while the BTRs could do screening. ATGMs could open fire and get side shots, and it was not a catastrophic situation, but it's pretty clear that it was snowballing a little bit on Scoop's favor, and Scoop probably would have just kept on feeding T-62s and BMP-2s in the middle area and trying to gain as many close range like infantry positions as possible. Of course, trying to cross those areas too much would lead them to be to fight the tanks, but if you just micro your infantry well enough in the forests, you can probably threaten and force the tanks to move away from the forests.
Yeah, we have a couple of M150s here coming up around the battlefield again. Defensive deployment around Gulf once more, and a Ranger Dragon going into the zone once more. Let's see if it moves into the forest again or if it stays in there this time around. A pivot in the south, a pivot in the north, and an Ihawk being the air defense here. And the MiG-27K likely going to come out early again. As, yeah, this is really nearly mirrored deployment on both sides to what we had in the first time around. Just a good couple more Plimias here from the get-go.
Yeah, the MiG-27K variant that we saw has a pod of rockets, so it's not just an AT plane, but with so few infantry units around, with the Rangers and LRS, expensive special forces units, the early AT plane, rocket plane, could like be devastating. You take out an Abrams and then you scramble back and you take out an LRS. That's a big hit immediately for Stahlbrecher, even if one of those units survives.
Yeah, LRS
Now,
once more will meet the GRU, the special GRU here in the center, but this time a bit more defensive deployment here on the side of Scoop, so the fight not immediately happening. Still gets into it, but will move the AGS into better positioning this time around. Oh, or does he?
oh,
Double law miss. Stadtbecher there, not getting a kill against the AGS unit this time around, but goes back into a position where he can't get hit easily, when no good line of sight really exists for the AGS unit. It is rotating around a bit. It is trying to find a good position here once more, but the law does find it with the third hit. Ito coming around for a Luwatz here, getting that one. Immediately getting fired upon by the 30mm Plimias here, and not disengaging at all. Stadtberg here not focused on the center, will lose the Ito here immediately. And that's an annoying loss, as, yeah, 2 Luwatzes not really worth that. M150 in the south, defensively here, firing against the Luwatz as well. LRS outgunned by the Medis, so yeah, Scoof with a decent little change up here in forces, but M1 Abrams and the M60 actually in range, as the Dajjal Hickey did overextend a bit, so they get stunned down and get reduced to half strength. M60 and M1 Abrams here pushing forward against the BMP-2. LRS and Ranger Dragon moving around, getting the AGS unit, but there comes the MiG-27 already. Finds the M60, gets hit, so the Ihawk will have it pushed out for a while, and we have an MR-10 from the first minute as well. firing onto the 30mm here. Will get the kill there, will get a stun against the BMP2. M1 Abrams still around. The loss of the M60 is pretty annoying, but at least the 9 damage hit of the IHawk means that that plane is out for a good while.
Yeah, that was actually a different AT plane. That one didn't have rockets. It had a infrared heat seekers. Yeah, the so second M110 already aiming at the second Plamia, this time at the town. Stahlbecker is still like has a single guy of LRS here, providing some like not that important recon coverage, but it's just important for there to be somebody to make sure that the Rangers who are now deploying in can actually join. This time, no aircraft troopers, nobody to be shot down by a double stinger hit. No. The Rangers go in there, 9-man special forces squad, 7 Colt commandos, and specialized close quarters infantry fighting unit. It's gonna be able to fight off everything currently, probably alone, even without the artillery support. But the artillery support hits here and immediately scrambles all of Scoof's infantry.
Yeah, the Plymia hasn't been hit just yet. Does survive the salvo. Pretty fortunate there for Scoof. The LRS likely gonna die here now in the center. And the Ranger on its own shouldn't move into the fight there against the Spetsnaz GRU and the Plymia either. So good kills there. Rangers pushing really deep into the forest north of Bravo, but they don't have any supply with them yet, so they are pretty vulnerable there. M1 at 50, fighting a fighting retreat here against some Dejaniki Medis and some Plymias as well, but the pivot coming out there, immediately getting the stun. AGS unit goes down as well. This Plymia push not working out so far. Dejaniki Medis not able to get a Medis onto the M150. Pivot pushing forward as well. Good hold here by Stahlbrecher. Game so far going a bit better, but he has to be careful to not be overly aggressive between Foxtrot and Bravo. Losing 1 Ranger unit already. Dejaniki Afghansi coming around in force. BTRS with BTR-70 with AGS and Dejaniki Medis stunning down the next Ranger. Both Rangers will be cleaned up, so important trades here for Scoof against Stahlbrecher.
Yeah, so far, Stahlbrecher's infantry attack into Bravo has basically just allowed the perfect positions for Scoof to start building a counter, a defense, and that is what you want to be doing. Infantry defenses with wide front lines of artillery, ATGMs and planes to destroy the fire support. Now, M1 Abramses are firing at the long ranges. The LRS shutdown weapon is providing great coverage for everything, and the M110 is already claiming some victims, who pushing T62 into stress territory. Now the LRS is getting bursted down there, probably not going to survive, but the second wave of both recon scouts are already moving in here, with the M1 Abramses being undamaged for the moment. Stahl in the middle has not pushed with the Rangers, but I think, of course, Stahl doesn't know that there are no that all those units are so weak. But in a moment, there's going to be an extra BMP2, and that's going to be a problem. All right, as I say this, Ranger Dragons moving in and Rangers attacking already, finding out that all the Spetsnaz have not been resupplied. The Dejaniki Metis getting resupplied just now.
Yeah, and the M110 already aiming at the area, so the Fagot team could get hit there. One Spetsnaz GRU team going down. We have a couple more tanks coming up. No new air defenses deployed yet by Stahlbrecher, so MiG-27s could still come around and be pretty powerful here. The M1 Abrams have to be careful, but so far, point-wise, only 150 points for the red side. That's an okay lead, but not a big one. And the Fagot team goes down now to the M110, and that M110 should continuously fire. Supply for it is needed now. It fired its first 4 salvos, but that one can really swing the balance over time quite heavily into Stahlbrecher's favor. And whilst we have a couple of units engaging here towards the Dejanikis, but the defensive line here looks pretty promising in my eyes for Scoof. Scoof just needs to find a way of getting an aggressive play online somewhere on the map again. Maybe towards one of the flanks.
Yeah, the flanks are, I think, Hotel and Echo are the logical choices to start doing some kind of pushing. And though we are seeing reinforcements coming in on Golf, I think that's, but these are still relatively defensive reinforcements. Our friend, the backline M150, has now reached the spawn and will be probably able to take something out. Oh, in the front line, Rangers Dragon getting taken out by the Metis. That's an unfortunate issue, but 3 more large infantry squads moving behind them to keep up this attack.
The recon in the rear got immediately spotted. Plymia unit did lose its transport, but the Mi-24P immediately being brought out to counter this. And the Plymia is now a bit lost. Will have to march a long way to the front line, but the rear line protection of Skoof has worked, is bringing around Rashvedka to the south now to prevent any further incursions. But we have the second M110 now on the battlefield already, and that is a big problem for the red side, as 2 M110s continuously hitting units means that you either have to play a game of hiding really well, or you have to play a game of constant maneuver. Both not that easy to do on Chandra, and at the same time, infantry here getting overrun by the M1s. Question is, yeah, MiG-27K immediately on the way again. I think this is the right time, and I think there's a good chance that this one can be successful once more. Flying around the hill, coming in here towards the Abrams, both smoking off, but they can only smoke for so long, but the Ihawk immediately can't find the hit. That is a money shot for Stahlbrecher, allowing the M1 Abrams back into action right now.
Yeah, the Ihawk didn't even have supply. It could have gone so badly there, but no, this is a 2-shot Ihawk, 2-hit Ihawk at 0 vet, of course. The M113s are being sent out there to tank the ATGM shots, and they've done that now kind of successfully, also revealing the spots for the now reloaded M110 and its friend, the M110-2, right behind them, targeting both of these Conquerors and T-62 locations. And so far, mech rifles seem to be going in here. As long as the burst hits the Rashvedka BMP-2 and T-62, most of the fighting capacity will probably be done for the red defense now. They are supporting fight against the Rangers in the middle town, standing still with near direct hits, with Dragon missiles going out there, taking out the Rashvedka. T-62 is stunned, M1 Abramses are almost fast moving in the position.
Oh, T-62 shows side armor, gets double hit by the Ranger, the Mech Rifle Dragons. Mech Rifle Dragons with the Dragon 2s there, getting 2 side shot hits, taking out the T-62. At the same time, though, we have a good counter push here in the south from Skoof. Lack of AA is a problem here, as the Tow Cobra is doing a good job, and at the same time, also, the real-line action of Stahlbrecher didn't actually kill that much, but neither the Plymia nor the Mi-24 has been moved back out of the rear zone, so they actually still generated a lot of value there. That Mi-24P could be really valuable in a lot of spots on the battlefield at this moment.
Yeah, but the Ihawk is still not supplied. The Ihawk just missed its shots against the second MiG-27. This is the first one now getting supplied here. It's not gonna get a second shot. Oh, the MiG-27 whiffs everything, which is massive because the Ihawk was not there to punish it. And now Stahl realizing this and sending the Ihawks and missiles. But yeah, that was a dice rolling victory right there for Stahlbrecher to compensate for this little bit of a micro mistake. Now, Mech Rifles Dragon have entered the zone, and definitely Sturmabwehr Konkurs gets a hit against the M1 Abrams, but is already out of supply. The 2 main weapons, artillery weapons of 56th, the Nonas, are now first targeting something on close ranges. The Nona is a self-propelled mortar thingy. It's really good especially on short ranges, but its firepower is still limited. It's not as great against heavy tanks, and it still has to be relatively close. So it has to risk itself in some engagements.
Oh,
another MiG-27 going. Oh,
MiG-27 once more missing, but at the same time we go pivot and Tow Cobra down in the south. Good positioning for the ATGM there. Fagot team does miss against the M60. At the same time, firepower from the BMP2 and the T62 MD could do a lot of work here. Ranger teams going down in the middle. CV in north goes down. Mi-24P finally did get moved forward. Lemia staying on the defense and did get a good hill. F16 though clears out the Mi-24P. Well, BMP2 has to be careful with the mech rifle in the center. Toe Cobra number 2 nearly gets shut down by the Stinger team. BMP2 versus the mech rifle dragon gets another stun out. Will get another aim. T62 M1D MD1 coming around, getting a kill as well. M60 goes down. Black Hawk helicopter nearly goes down as well. Oh, M60 with a side shot against the T62, getting a good hill. F16 AA. Can it get the shutdown on the MiG-27? It's pretty close. But the MiG-27 makes it out. And
it's just slightly too slow. Slightly slower than the F-16. F-16 couldn't get a proper burst. But yeah, so tank attack going pretty alright for Starbreaker right now. Very little actually opposing it.
Loses the M60 in the south though, so they will both trade points, and there is still a decent amount of infantry around in the north. The Nonas have to be careful. F-16 gets shut down here as well, so Goof starting to get some important kills back here. Starting to take air control, and yeah, the southern forces here of Starbreaker have been quite heavily reduced, but this northern push, as you said, like, there's a lot pushing towards Bravo. MiG-23 getting hit here, killing the Toe Cobra. Is there still the pivot? There is no pivot, and the Eyehawk once more is empty. So
no, the Spetsnaz GRU have a RPG-27 range on the Abrams.
Oh,
and
they get
the Abrams.
Oh, another big loss. Chaika gets killed there in the north, but Starbreaker doesn't have a CV ready to follow all of this up, and he did take some massive losses in the last couple of minutes. Goof did look like they were on the rope there for a while, but Starbreaker is giving them a good couple of great trades here, and now Scoof might be back into this, moving Shaika towards Gulf, as there is still no CV close to Bravo. A Mud CP coming up from the rear here for Starbreaker, but Goof might be the first one again to go on a take here. Just has to be careful with the Bradley moving around south.
Yeah, the southern attack around Gulf has now started to move around and take some ground, but the unit numbers here are not that massive, and there aren't that much. Okay, the reinforcements are coming in now, just the standard infantry going to move in here, but the Black Hawk and other reinforcements. Oh, if the BMP2 gets the Black Hawk, that would be horrible here. Just.
Oh, that's not looking good for the Black Hawk. It's dropping pretty hard, and it's flying actually a bit too far. Nope, that is going to be a Black Hawk down.
Oh,
and
another.
That means the southern reinforcements not going so well, but at the same time, Strela is going down on the other side. The Nonas did get evacuated, but both sides losing a couple of sloppy reinforcements here. M110s have pushed quite deep towards Bravo. The Chaika has been pushed out of Gulf, so the +1 is happening right now, but there is a Mud CP on the way, and the Dejant RPG-22 not going to be able to stop that. So pick soon likely going to start for Starbreaker. Whilst Bradley has to be careful here. BMP2 moving around, but Strela barely does not get hit there by the first one, but the second TOW-2 missile does get the kill. Mud CP moving around as well. Bradley under fire, doesn't have an HGM ready, so the BMP2D gets the kill there. Mud CP will go down to the Plymia before it can capture, so both sides here once more trading on the southern side, whilst the push in the north goes forward to Nonas, hitting the resupply vehicles, but they are already empty, as we have a Mi-8 MT Escorty coming up.
Yeah, the infantry fights in the forest north of Bravo have been the tip-top units, the Desantiki Afghansi, as well as the RPG-22 units, the 14-man mega squads, and these on paper could easily fight everything that Stahlbrecher had here, but Stahl used PVADs to effectively suppress the Massive squad, which is now down to just a one man, and one man mech rifle squad is actually trying to hunt it. So Stahl has managed to fight off this pretty major infantry counterattack, and no infantry reinforcements are coming towards that area. Whereas Stahlbrecher is sending some, including a Rangers leader. So yeah, all the pressure from Skoof seems to be moving into the southwestern region. Now, the BMP2 has been doing amazing work here, destroying a PVAS, destroying the Black Hawks, and even a Motorasvedka unit is securing the entry point into the southern village of Hotel. And there are enough units here for Stahl to actually fight this back, but the question is Stahl going to be able to micro them to actually achieve this early on before all the reinforcements start coming in?
And we see the non-artillery here now targeting the pivots, getting some good hits there, and losing AA here for Stadler here could be pretty devastating. Is finally moving the iHawk forward, but there is a Fagot with a line of sight on the reinforcements there. Both the M110 and the iHawks gonna be need to be careful. Resupply forces have been shut down. Scout has to be brought up, and that means a bit of a cutoff of the Bravo forces from the rest of the units of Stahlbrecher. And yeah, thanks to the capture of Golf, no tick here for Stahlbrecher right now, so good. I like the 56 position here right now. Just needs to be careful not losing too much to the MR10. Those two now trying to get some hits against more of the Special GIU. Do get the kill there. Forgot Luat's out of ammo now. So that is okay as well. But the Nonas tried to get a hit on the Rangers in the south, and no way in for new CVs just yet, especially as Hotel is under siege now too.
Yeah, it's a weird situation in which both the opposing entry points are being controlled by the opposing teams. The LRS are more than enough to fight off any units that try to move in there, and they can also spot them along ranges. But the Motorasvedka there also have 3 excellent RPG 26s, which will be able to front shot 1 kill against the ACAVs and 113s, all of them.
With Cordy versus M1 Abrams, as the Abrams did deal a lot of damage. Me-8MT needs to disengage, and it might just run into the aircraft troopers. It might just have enough firepower to finish it. Oh, it's getting stunned. Aircraft troopers, they get the kill. Big kill against the helicopter there. Aircraft troopers is now known, so the Dejaniki and the BMP-2D should be more careful. Will find line of sight. Important finishing blow there. M110s here rotating around. iHawk and Chaparral moving in. As we have a Mud CP moving towards Alpha. Both sides stay low. Golf got recaptured. Good pushback there. Whilst we have a move of the Shaika towards Golf at the same time. And yeah, important kills and losses here on both sides. This game still seems to be really fluent as both sides just don't have enough forces to hold out all across the map here.
Yeah, the M1 Mutt is going to go in here right as the M1 Abrams is actually retreating, even though it could take out this veteran Vaslovka BMP2 at any moment here. Okay, now M1 Abrams getting immediately spotting this. Abrams is trying to move back in here, but could be that the momentum was lost there. Quite unfortunately, the LRS going down and down in the southern region is now moving in and trying to get the Chaika. The Rangers Black Hawk is going to deploy right on top of the 3-man Motorasvedka squad. And the Black Hawk's machine guns might actually be enough to just automatically take that out.
So if it lands, it might get killed off, and that at least would be a dead helicopter. But at the same time, mech rifles here under fire by Dejaniki with BMP-2D support. F-16 here should be the weaker fighter, but it's not like the fighters of 56 are amazing. They have MiG-23 MLDs, which are pretty good MiG-23s, but they're still only MiG-23s here. So the long-range missiles gives them a nice edge on a map like this. Mech Rifle Dragons going down. But the +1 here for Stahlbrecher about to catch up all the way as H2S keeps on firing with the MR10s, and yeah, Scoof is running out of stamina right now.
Yeah, Stahlbrecker's attack on Alpha was really the M1 Abrams just leaving the fighting space right at the wrong moment, and still the tick is benefiting Stahlbrecker for like 30 seconds here now, so technically is going to reach victory. And with the Rangers leader now moving in already to Hotel, actually two Rangers leaders, the this is enough to achieve like a solid tick. The Bravo defenses here are what Stahl is focusing on, and I think that is correct. Bravo needs to be defended from the north angle, where the Abrams is just getting really close to the enemy infantry attack right now, unfortunately, with mech rifle support. The problem is that if you have your stuff, especially your vehicles, too close in fighting positions, the Nonas can just be a problem to them. But the M110s are just like a completely different caliber of unit with the 203 millimeters.
Yeah, the Dejaniki here in the middle still holding out for now, but the M1 Abrams now starting to help out, and the MiG-27s really have let Scoof down so far. A couple more hits of those would have swung the fight around, and they are still trying. We have a Chaparral and an Nighthawk team around though again, and another MiG-27K just getting shot out of the sky. And Abrams did go down here in the north towards some Dejanikis, overwhelming it. Just running through the forest and getting enough RPGs into it. M113 ACAV now under fire by Dejaniki with RPG-7s as well. The F-16 here going a bit deep as another MiG-27K comes around. Let's see what they can achieve this time around. Stahlbrecher continues being on the +2 as more reinforcements here coming in for Scoof into the town in the south.
Yeah, Rangers leader upvetting itself by destroying the BMP with a recoilless rifle. It's a reasonably strong unit. I mean, the Colt Commando, the Spec Ops, the upvet, and even a sniper rifle there with smoke grenade if you need to escape from an engagement, and with the LRS being on a touching distance of the Plumia, actually giving the LRS very nice 25% damage boost. Oh, up north here we're seeing the Motorasverka already in position to kill units reinforcing into Bravo, the infantry attack, the 14-man squads, all of this good stuff coming in, even upvetted by the Desantiki commander right now, Komroti. Yeah, this is M113 reinforcements are pretty decent. 50 cals are very powerful, and the mech rifles raw units are good, but they deploy very slowly compared to just trucks or even cars, which often go 100 kph. The Nonas here are more than enough to wound and destroy these infantry squads for the Americans, and then they have to face already an extremely powerful infantry tab. The loss of the mechanized support is a problem here. Now, they could try to risk helicopters against GRUs. We haven't seen any bombers for 8th, and 8th bombers are not the best. You get LGBs, which are, of course, nice if you want to pick out tanks, and you get high-altitude bombers with famously bad bomb loads. Now, I haven't actually seen an F-111 HE run after they got buffed. Do you know if they're valid now, Protoss, or are they still just too weak?
They don't die anymore, but they still don't do much damage on the ground, so that's...
Yeah, it's the pacifist bomber, really.
Like, the one with the heavier bomb loads, those one are pretty fine. The one with the light bombs are still pretty terrible. That's the case for the F-111s there as well. And the Dejanikis here, they got Bravo back under control. A lot of RPG shots there on important units. At the same time, though, Stahlbrecher has cleaned out around Gulf as well, and Stahlbrecher is now the one in the point lead. M110s here still dealing a lot of damage, but all the tanks have died. There is one remaining M1 Abrams on the front line, one more coming up, another one being just bought, but in the northern parts, there is not that much left. There is another one there, but 56 is doing classic 56 things and just being able to replace losses and being able to do that the whole game through with quality units. They're never the highest of quality, but they're always quality. And that's something that a lot of other divisions just can't quite keep up with. And the Dejant Afghansis here that come in force in the south, they could really do some good damage as well if they get enabled. Issue is they land at the wrong spot right now, and there is a pivot to stop them. And unlike the Gepards, the pivot has a lot of ammo. The nerf and the high stress on it mean that it doesn't gonna kill the Dejant Afghansi here in a split second. You really can see the damage difference compared to previous patch when their damage against infantry was a lot higher, but the high stress there on the pivot, they're preventing it from going absolutely ham as well. F111 LGB around, MiG-23 not able to stop it. Oh, and the LGB finds a bombing hit. MiG-27 finds the M60 at the same time though. Pivot dealing a bit of damage, but not all that much. MiG-27K doing a bit of damage against the F111 LGB, pushing it completely out of there. Pivot goes down, and we have Scoof back in the hotel area, and Stadtbrecher's reinforcements only coming in slowly. And if Scoof gets in there, that would still be good enough to turn this game around. He doesn't have a CV anywhere close, so he will need to hold hotel for a while. But it seems like he might be able to do that, as there are 2 more BMP-2 infantry units coming in. And on the side of Stadtbrecher, only a couple of mech rifles here. Those are good infantry as well, but not really what you need here. So if he wants to win the fights, I think good M110 salvos need to land in hotel. But we might just see him trying to approach in towards Bravo again. Issue there is no infantry support whatsoever for the M1s. He has deep eyes on the enemy spawn there, but he has no support of infantry for his M1 Abrams whatsoever between Bravo and Foxtrot. MiG-27K coming around again. Ranger leader gets killed off, and MiG-27K gets pushed back here as well. MR-13 Vivid Dragon goes down to the BMP-2. Modvachvetka pushing forward. Oh, the BMP-2 is actually rotating around. Mech Rifle Law just a second too late to get the side shot there. Ooh, this game is getting fast, and I feel like Scoof is on a really good path right now to turn the point lead around here. The Shaika just needs to get there in time, and he just needs to hold out a bit longer. The mech rifles here getting one BMP-2. Will try to hit the other one in the second, most likely. M113 with the Dragon here getting shot apart. Both sides continue losing units, but as I said before, that is really pretty fine for the 56. It wants to constantly trade 1-1 trades, and it is doing that pretty nicely right now. And 8US starts to show its late game strain in what kind of forces it gets throughout the match.
Yeah, it's the 56 thing is that it is an endless just supply of stuff. Like you said, it just never lets go. And if you show weakness, if you overextend, as we saw, so many of those Abramses getting taken out around Bravo by that infantry counterattack, then suddenly 56 can just fill the map with stuff. Now, even before this, 56 had a very nice, Scoof had a very nice defense in depth, a lot of recon units and just extra units around there to prevent an enemy breakthrough or in case. And now a lot of those units have been put out there to fight in the front line, and this has given Scoof a very nice momentary advantage here, which I think is it's not impossible that Scoof actually manages to hold it. It's only 8 minutes here, so if Scoof gets just a little tiny points advantage, it's quite unlikely that Stahlbrecher actually able to build up and counterattack back into Charlie or Delta.
The Nonas are so on target here. Stahlbrecher was about to win the infantry fight at Hotel again, but there come the Nona shots and helping out, stopping the mech rifles from having any cohesion whatsoever. M113s around them falling apart really quickly as well, and BMP-2D about to overrun the pivots, helping out with the mech rifles too. The Nonas just doing so much work there. The Bradleys and the M1s holding out around Foxtrot, but yeah, Stahl needs to get Hotel back relatively soon, and he has no infantry outside of one mech rifle to do so, and that mech rifle needs to pave the way for the M1 Abrams CP, because he needs to get in with that CV, as they take will be catching up to him in 2 minutes here. We have Scoof coming around with another CV towards Hotel. We have a couple of engineers here coming in towards the south as well, but there is still another Shaika here moving towards the Gulf point as well. It's looking pretty grim here for Stahlbrecher right now. Scoof playing 56, exactly how you need to play the division, and Stahlbrecher is getting pulled thin. MiG-27K here once more in the sky. The M1 Abrams being caught out one too many times here.
Yeah, it's the like Stahl actually had the N60 destroy a leader earlier on, and so the hotel hasn't been such a massive catastrophe. If that hadn't happened, Stahl wouldn't still have this 100-point lead that could be cut off. But yeah, with the second M1 Abrams getting ordered to up north.
RPG-7 catching another mech rifle unit in deployment. And the M1CP here, face-checking Dejan Rajvetka, will get the kill there. Mech rifle coming around, but the MiG-27 finally finds an absolutely money shot there on the M1 leader. And that keeps the +3 up here now. Golf has fallen as well, and we see Scoof about to get ahead and take, and there are just no maneuverable combined arms forces here really around for Stahl to get into any good positions within 5 minutes. He only has a single CV on the battlefield, and game number 1 seems really close to be fully decided here, as yeah, there is no CVs left, and without Hotel being fully captured by Stahl, he would need to get a lot of space with the M1 Abrams, and he does not have the time for that. He does not have the forces, and there we have the GG Goof winning game number 1.
Now that was a game. Wow. I mean, just at every point, like the Stahlbrecher was doing so well, had such like a not overbuilt, not like massive, needlessly M1A1 filled like mechanized battle group out there. A lot of the 50 cal units were used exactly as I would like them to be seen, as screening units, and then be used as long range fire support. But would you say that it was the overextension up northeast from Bravo, the overextension of driving the Abramses into the town, into the forest?
Yeah, it was
And
just
then
not just there where the tanks overextended. It was tanks overextending at every single point on the map, in the around the midpoint of the game. Like there were M60s in the south that overextended into ATGM range. There were M1 Abrams in the north that overextended. All of that leading to him not being able to afford a second or third IHawk. Like 3 IHawks and the MiG-27s all die, and then that makes the late game a lot easier. A couple more infantry units for screening for the Abrams, and you can just pivot this up. But RPG-7s, like the Soviets and the East Germans, you just never can take any risks with your armored vehicles against them. You will get bullied. The French, the British, and the Soviets and the East Germans never move your vehicles on their own into a forest fight there. Only with a lot of infantry screening, and that was a mistake that Stahlbrecher did here a couple too many times, and then the RPG-7BL will just bully you. So yeah,
hello.
he got into Bravo well, but he just kept on overextending there.
Yeah, and also I gotta say, like the BMP2s were doing insane amounts of damage. Like the 2 vet BMP2s and the Rasvetkas as well. I would say I would look at them and see them like burst down a 9-man infantry squad. 2 bursts, it's a 4-man infantry squad. Like they were so efficient for the price, and the M1 Abramses just didn't really act as the hard counter that you would expect, and I think that was because they were being used as ways of allowing the 8th Infantry to fight the better infantry on close ranges, and that was simply just not the way to go. Like they're either playing more passively, using helicopters or something. Like there were very very few ways to act, and there were not the flash engineers were not a part of this division or not a part of this deck, and just lack of dedicated close quarters infantry lost those forest fights, and
Yeah,
those forest fights really were they
like
were
the
tactically
mistake
so
was
important.
not losing the forest fight. The mistake was going for the forest fight, because
Yes,
if you
taking the fights, that was
like
the
like
mistake,
if
of
you
course.
look at the stats up until the 23rd minute, there was basically a kill of the M110s every 1 or 2 minutes, because there was a solidified front line. Both sides had to take the fights there, and both sides engaged. Like sometimes even one each minute, and then there was a big 3 minute or 4 minute drop afterwards, and then there was 8 minutes without a single kill of the M110s, because they just didn't have any targets anymore, because it was creepy fights in forests where they just never had the time to aim. And the M110s were what kept Stahlbecher in the trades even slightly ahead in the early game. And once the M110s stopped firing and he gave up that advantage, and where the Nonnas with their quicker aim time can start doing their job, uh, then the fight went south. And yeah, not relying on the M110s until the end of the game, maybe the biggest mistake here of Stahlbrecher, as they just can generate so much value on this map. But once you start to get into messy fights, it becomes hard to find good targets for them, and they just never did anything in the last 10 minutes basically of the game, and that's where Stahlbrecher basically fell apart. So they are already in game number 2, it seems like. So let's, or
Are they?
maybe not. I don't see.
I'm not putting them yet.
Stahlbrecher is supposedly in game.
Yeah, it's playing eighth is always risky. Like the just losing a few engagement is just gonna be such a big hit in your wallet.
Yeah, I don't see any spectator up, but it might just be Stahlbrecher being and checking out the map.
Are they? Wait, what was the map? Is this Mount River? Because if this Mount River, they could be. Yeah, they could be actually doing the default server name. I'm gonna go check this one.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's a default server name. Get in here, Protoss. 30 seconds before the start.
Yeah.
We're of course going to be for this mistake from the caster's part, from the player's part. We're of course going to be docking the prize money a little bit. You gotta name your servers.
And it's a weird official server name is also a weird one. I'm not sure why that come up there.
Yeah. So, do we have PBAT? Are you in chat? Can you do the prediction release?
But yeah, we can do the prediction release here. We can set up the next one, and whilst we're waiting here for the start of the second one, we can also get around for the next matchup here, as we can get over to Metrorino, guys, as there are still 4 codes here left to be claimed by you guys. So get around and claim the codes, and add free money to the prize pool. All you have to do is click on the link in the chat, click the claim code button, and free money gets added to the prize pool here, Cam Warrior being the latest. And if you want to push it even further, you obviously can also contribute directly. And if you want to help out the casters here directly, first of all, you can easily follow over at Chlorite's channel there as well. And if you have a Twitch Prime laying around, feel free to leave it over at Chlorite's channel or here as well. And YouTube memberships also go a long way, helping financially to afford investing all the time in here. So, yeah, let's get around here. We have this app, Hippie here, coming in as number 47 with the claim code button. 3 more codes to be claimed, guys. And yeah, let's get into game number 2. Stahlbrecher and Bickus Kekkus, as we have second Panzer Grenadier here, first pick from Scoof versus Stahlbrecher's classic AMX 30 playstyle here, coming up on the left side most likely, as we have the brunette coming around, his replacement for the 5th Blinde, so that you can pick 5th Blinde in the 3rd game.
Yeah, seems to be that Scoof is not deploying anything right now. So can I recommend a TV series to anybody? There's a good TV series. I know it's very rare. It's called The Chair Company, and it's on HBO. And it's the first time, it's a Tim Robinson thing, if that means anything to you. And it's the first time that I've ever seen a mix of cringe comedy and an actual, like, exciting thriller. It's called The Chair Company. It's very funny. It's very good. It's on HBO. Go watch it. 6 episodes out. We gotta support good culture when we get it. So already now we are seeing a reasonably standard second Panzergrenadier deployment here with Falchimpala Milan 2s coming in standard 3-lane fashion. Falchimpala Milan, of course, I used to call this potentially the best unit in the game. At least if you're a beginner in the game, you would always want to get acquainted with this unit. Basically allows you to define the fighting line for yourself against most divisions. And forward deploying Fallschirmjägerführer to gain a little bit of an extra points lead early on. But so far, are we thinking that there is going to be a southern attack to Lima
No, I think it's
by
going to be.
Star? 2 Sabliers. That's a lot.
I think it's going to be a southern attack towards X-Ray with taking the village towards Lima, but not going down the road. Like that is a way how the somewhat slower divisions can go into X-Ray, because usually X-Ray is being contested from the northern roads into it. But if you are the slow division without forward deployment, like that road is just suicidal. Enemy will have Milan 2s, like we just see set up from Scoof there. But Scoof is taking the short road there, not moving all the way, not going into the high-rise building. Silos here to contest all the areas leading into X-Ray. And we'll have a ATGM shadows towards the south there, where only the Milan 2 from the south will cover it, but with enough AMX 30s and with a bit of scouting, you can shoot that down and then just move into X-Ray from the south. So I like that deployment of Startbreaker. Question is, will you have enough around to hold Papa at the same time? And there's also always the risk that the enemy gets into the forest at left of X-Ray and can go towards your spawn road that way. So it's pretty risky to push the south, but with a division like the Spanish one, it makes good sense.
Yeah, it's the thing that I'm afraid of is that Stahl is not playing against an airborne division. There's an opener of 2 IFVs and 3 Leopard 1A5s, two of which are probably going to around middle in north of X-Ray. And what I'm afraid of here on Stahl's side, that if there are any issues in capturing the village west of Lima, I think it's pretty easy for there to be basically a counter pincer coming down from X-Ray, because when you show your cards, you show that you're investing tanks heavily into the southern area. That basically tells your enemy what's happening, and they can both exploit your weaknesses up north, as well as then basically force you to just hang around that area and contain you. That's why I'm thinking that, maybe just a straight on push towards Lima could be more shocking. But I don't play Brunette. I don't really know how I would do it in that situation. Interestingly, we're seeing a guy boy being taken up vetted. Probably a pretty good idea considering how many of these 20mm guns you get with the Spanish. It's Milan 2 guy boy and tow combo to behind some limited recon, two recon squads, or 1 squad and 1 tank, and that's really going to be everything to hold Papa. There are no standard Fallschirmjägers coming in, which is the meta pick probably. Fallschirmjägers not the best units in competitive play. They're still too inefficient. But the Fallschirmjäger Führers and the Fallschirmjäger Aufklärers can do a lot. The Aufklärers, especially having the Panzerfaust 3, can act as very powerful anti-tank defenses early on in the game. So they can do the close defense while the Milan 2 does the long defense. And So far, I mean, I am excited to see what Stahl is bringing out here, but I just feel like the second Panzergrenadier opener is there are leopard. Okay, so wait, no, these are one vet. I thought it was 0 vet. Yeah, so veterancy 1 Leopard 1A5s going in defensive positions all around the map, and they're going to be working together with these Milan 2s, and they are going to be acting under orders from the recon helicopters, basically. Uh, and the fact that Stahl is doing a more aggressive play down south means that it's also easier for the recon helicopters to stop. Yeah, there maybe Stahl's aircraft can get some really good early tempo, and of course the Spanish infantry is cheap enough that first minute buys to like actually defend Papa are pretty realistic. We know that Skoof doesn't have the forces necessarily to immediately take Alpha and Papa, so this is good luck for Stahl because if there was an immediate attack, would be very difficult for Stahl to deal with that.
Yeah, both sides having M110s is going to be important on this map as well. And yeah, I'm really interested to see how much Skiff is going to invest into air, because usually air spam on this map always loses. Like we have it had many, many times, and the map is just too narrow, so that decent air defense usually gets you shut down quite quickly, and then you just die. But on the other side, 2nd Panzer Grenadiers Tornado air spam currently is kind of unhinged, so it might just be good enough to get through on this map as well. So with the F-18 on the other side, we also have one of the best fighters. It's not quite on the same level as the F-18 in the Canadians, because they have the slightly weaker AM7s with the AM7F instead of the M model, but it's still the better fighter compared to the Tornado on the other side. And you have good enough ground-based AA support with Roland 2s and so on to help out in fighter versus fighter action, so that your F-18s should have a good time in the long run. But the question is, will that be good enough? When will they come out? And yeah, the ground fights here. When will the Leopards come out? The Leopard 2s, that is. Because I like the MX-30s against the Leopard 1s. Especially the Spanish ones with the higher accuracy. That helps out. They have better slightly better armor, slightly better pen here on the Sublier compared to the Leo 1A5s. And the accuracy is on the same level. And so that is quite nice. The MX-30 Recon with the 19 pen gun, which is 17 on max range as well, is in a pretty good state as well. Roland, the Milan 2 here immediately being spotted, but gets one BMR killed off. Didn't get out alive though. So Milan 2 coming around here, and the Santana behind all of this. The BO-105s on both sides seeing each other. All the HR-15 here. Oh, in the hands of Stahlbrecher. Milan 2 not losing its transport there. But
Stahl immediately getting an M110, targeting it at the village.
Ooh, that's an interesting choice. MX-30 there has to be careful. Breaks line of sight in time. Milan 2 on the other side is careful as well. Does leave the building. Dinete will not be on target. The M110 here with the first shot will not be on target. Immediately re-aims though. So second shot will fall on the Fallschirmjäger Aufklärer. Jäger Aufklärer in the north goes down in transport. Genitel getting some value out of their extra range that they got lately. BO-105s finding the MX-30, but the Guy Boy helping out big time there as well. So some good early trades here. BO-105 Recon goes down. Seplindir needs to smoke off. Does do so in time. Milan 2 versus Leo 105. The Leo 105 doesn't smoke, but lucky here. It would get one shot killed. Needs to get the hell out of there. Milan 1 aiming back here one more time against the Sublier. Sublier is getting hit. Milan 1 not good enough to one-shot kill it though. MX-30 here killing off the Fallschirmjäger Aufklärer. And Fusiliers pushing forward. So far, good engagements here for Stahlbrecher. Issue is, position-wise, 2nd Panzer Grenadier, thanks to the capture of X-Ray, is in an advantage. And by now, the Milan 2 has moved into the silo. Leo 185 is rotating south. The other Milan 2 hasn't unloaded yet. Good move there from Skoof. Rotating that one south now as well. So South push into X-Ray, not gonna be possible, at least not without some great hits from the MOR-10s. No such artillery on the other side just yet. Leo 185 here, getting attacked by the MOR-10, getting stunned down. Sablier trying to find a shot here. Fusiliers engaging against the Milan 2. And yeah, stun on the Leo 185. Good hit from the Sablier. That Leo 185 is really, really low. Does smoke off just in time now. And the second Leo 185 is in a good spot there to help out. Milan 2 nearly out of ammo. Still would have 2 shots left, but is continuously running away right now. Trying to get between the shots. Getting his shot out here. Might get stunned down before. No. Sablier does get hit, but thanks to its 11 hit points, it does survive with 1 HP. 185 here, still around. M110 re-aiming for the second one. MX30 going into a fighting position. Will take the engagement against the retreating units. And the good 11 hit point infantry is working as a meat shield right now. Sablier moving forward. At the same time, Ginete in the center going down. Fusiliers finally go down in the south as well. Milan 1 might get another shot here. As the Leo 185 gets hit by the MOR-10, isn't moving yet. A salvo might be good enough to kill it. Second hit is pretty good. Third shot coming in. Is it good enough to get the kill? Yes, it is. Leo 185 on the flanking. Goes down. Good kill here once more for Stahlbrecher. But the tick is now on. X-Ray has been captured. +2 is online. Another Milan 1 goes down. Stahlbrecher with the better trades so far. But really, the positions are great for the 2nd Panzergrenadier.
Yeah, Stahl is now sending a helicopter recon to find out how much there is on Alpha, and is trying to push with the Ginetes, but immediately after finding out what there is, everybody gets ordered to run back. A bunch of martyrs out there. Panzergrenadier sacrificed itself in a probing attack, and I think Skoof just didn't really want to win that well enough, didn't want to do enough micro for this. Now, the F-18s, which have not been seen yet. Already a Tornado AA is already patrolling with reasonably heavy artillery, getting both bunch of Schwillinges, also as infantry.
Another martyr goes down, and the MX30 Leo 185 goes down on the south as well. There is a third Leo 185 here, but the kills are going great for Stahlbrecher right now, and he might get just enough firepower here. Tornado is fishing for AA here right now, trying to figure out what Stahlbrecher has to offer. We only have a Gepard around as air defense out of Skoof though, so this is risky. No F-18 here just yet. Rolands get a single hit. Ooh, getting a kill here on one of the 2 tornadoes that you get would be big, and the tornado goes down. That should give the F-18s, once they come out, heavy air dominance. Harrier HE2 though, out in the north now, after realizing that there is no AA there. So the northern section here of Stahlbrecher is in trouble, and he is not disengaging. So both units in the church tower will go down, and he hasn't bought an F-18 yet. Has bought another MX-30 RE there instead, and I think that is a mistake. And Papa is about to fall, so Stahlbrecher will need to find another bit of value here in the south, and will need to get to Lima to not let the tick run away too far, or find a way into X-Ray here. M110 moving closer to the front line, but the northern situation here right now is pretty scary. Gets a looks kill at least, so still generates some value there in the north as well, but the southern situation needs to be exploited now. The advantages that he has created there with the trades needs to be pushed further.
Yeah, and now Stahl sending the Sabliers in with a commander to give them that little bit of an edge. Okay, commander actually moving back to not allow for it to be taken out by an passing AT plane. Sabliers now moving up here, and with 2v1 will be able to win these fights as long as the recon coverage holds. And with no recon coverage, a very limited one coming in for Skoof here, Skoof is kind of probably best off just trying to fortify the forest.
Leo 185 gets taken down, all AMX-30 able to fire on it. The Recon 1 helping out, Martyr under fire as well, Panzergrenadiers get kill. So Lima is going to fall. Stahlbrecher playing a great game trading, and he hasn't lost Papa. Papa hasn't been pushed here. 155mm cheaper artillery piece here from Scoof, being pushed relatively aggressively, will get a guy boy in the middle, but at the same time the M110 aiming for the silo, likely gonna find a Milan 2 for itself there. The recon tank in the south goes down to a BO-105, as the MX-30's not quite up there to cover it, and the Milan 2 in the silo does fall. BO-105 out of ammo, but yeah, that kill pretty nice. MX-30s keep on rotating. Fusilieros trying to find the martyr. MX-30s keep on pushing. The C90 does miss, but it'll get the kill in the end. Panzer Grenadiers here trying to find the flank, but MX-30 rotates quickly enough, and now with its 50 cults all on target, it has 2 of them plus another MG. The Panzer Grenadiers likely gonna just melt here in front of this, so the Lima push is working. 2 Leo 105s here on the way in. The BMR PC in the way towards the point. That will slow down the tick here, potentially stop it. So as we speak, Papa is being sieged by the red team. Oh, and the CV got shut down by the Leo 105s. It didn't go into the forest. Mistake from Stahlbecher. Needs a new CV now. So the plus 3 tick here stays alive for now. Stahlbecher is finding value in the trades, but is still a good bit behind on the map itself. Sablier needs to smoke off. Good micro there, and he is maybe putting himself into a bit of a pincer, easy pincer there for Scoof, as Scoof is trying to rotate around units from the north to get attack onto Lima. Fallschirmjäger get shut down by the C90. More good value there. MR10 now aiming towards the Fallschirmjäger Führer in the north. We have another HGM towards Iltis. Sablier goes down in the south versus the Leo 185s. Get caught before it can get into the 3 lines. Milan 1 does not get hit by the Sablier. Sablier doesn't go down, but another one does fall here. 2 Sabliers down now. And the Milan 1 does finally fall. The Fallschirmjäger Führer in the north does finally fall. Will bring it back to a +2, but Lima seems to be safe again here, as the Fusilieros in a good spot here, but enough reinforcements coming in here to likely push back the forces of Stahlbrecher for now. MX-30s need to get the hell out of there. You don't want to lose those. You need that AA against the helicopters, and especially against any potential Harrier or Tornado bombers.
Yeah, it's the Stahl is really just fighting for his life, trying to get into that Lima push, but the enemy is reinforcing so much faster. There was a second Sub-Lear destroyed by around this area. The only tank, only fighting capacity tank left is currently trying to threaten X-Ray behind these Genetis units, and with good luck, could be able to apply pressure. Probably not going to be able to get in there, and no reinforcements are no offensive reinforcements are going up north for Scoof. Scoof recognizing that this needless to try to get this already having the +2 in the by controlling the middle. But yeah, the Milan ones, the Harriers and clusters both bombarding, and the Roland 2 is just not enough to actually deal with this. We haven't seen the F-18s yet, which would be a huge investment. The investment which constantly needs to be used into keeping up any kind of a tank advantage. Without having the tanks here, there are very few tools to actually deal with the Leopard 1s, outside of the M110, which just once again managed to remove one of them around X-Ray.
Oh, HE Bomber comes in for the MX-30, takes it out. Yeah, you need the F-18s out. Finally, the first one of them is arriving on the battlefield, but I feel like the MX-30 RE in the north should have been one of these from the get-go. Ihawk will come around now. BO-105 at least gets shut down by the fighter here, but the planes both escape. We have a good amount of tanks here now sieging the middle, where the Leo 1 just died, but there are 2 more Milans here in the rear. At the same time, a bit of a push here once more towards the south from Stahlbrecher, but he has to be careful there. Leo 185s are still around. His Milan 2 not in the perfect spot to shoot them. MX-30 Mando now rotating into the center, but he doesn't have the infantry fire support there just yet. Genitez going down in the south, being caught outside of the forests. Stahlbrecher overextending here into the southern regions. should just fall back. Should have just fallen back to the village, get the Milan 2 into the church tower, and siege. Get that siege towards the middle working. Where he is getting value right now, but is he losing too many units in the south that he just gets flanked from the rear there? That's the big worry that I have right now. More AMX-30s on the way. He is still trading okay, but his rear in the south now is wide open. Saplier pushing against another Panzer Grenadier. Might be able to stun it down just in time with its amount of firepower that it has. Panzer Grenadier is here. Yeah, get routed. Saplier does get the kill there in a couple of seconds, but can't push any further. Napalm gets a good hit in the north, or a decent hit there, burning down some
That's far as
Zwillinge.
napalm, really. I mean, it's still napalm. It's not getting the kill here, unfortunately, on either of those units. Oh no, one of them does go down.
Yeah, Zwillinge going down. Milan 1 does not get a hit against Saplier in the middle, and the Mando does finally push in there. 1,000 points nearly here for our player in red, but that is going to stop now. Stahlbrecher, though, in dire need of some more reinforcements towards the defensive of the southern point. And yeah, his overextension there really might cost him. Saplier gets spotted by the Milan 1 and might get hit here, which just goes
just
barely
before.
on top of it. Tornado Cluster also gets the MX-30 in the middle. That's where the F-18s need to be. F-18s need to be ready on command. Best just already out on the battlefield in the rear, but we have seen Stahlbrecher fall to air spam, at least losing a lot of units to air spam in the quarterfinals as well. He did get it around there, but yeah, it's tough to get the Tornadoes if you don't have the F-18s on short command. The Harriers, though, they should not be allowed to get any value in this matchup, and Stahlbrecher already has been bombed a couple of times now without getting any hits on them. We have
Harrier is the ultimate bullying unit. Like, if you don't have or you have limited anti-air, you don't have good enough anti-air, the bomb load and the reload time and the price of the Harrier is just so much, it can actually beat you into submission.
And the Tornado Cluster comes around again. Does not get a hit. MX-30 does get hit on the Tornado this time around, but where are the F-18s? Where is the bloody Air Force here? Harrier comes in again, gets hit before it can drop, gets shut down by the Roland 2s here, but F-18 still should be coming around here eventually. BMR CV goes down in the north. There is no real pushing power here for Scoof, but a couple of more forces coming up, and there is currently no CV on the battlefield for Stahlbrecher, and the southern reinforcement of the MX-30 EM2 there is really risky. I feel like he has the northern route now secured. He should have come through that way into X-Ray, because his southern route is actually pretty open, and he's even pushing the M110 forward. I think that is really paying the fire there. That M110 is moving into a position where it could easily be found by a Leo 1A5 and just shut down. What is Stahlbrecher doing with his southern flank there?
I think it's because Stalis wants to supply the tank and the M110 at the same time. I think that's the logic here. But yeah, that is a pretty risky location. No infantry, no recon holding this.
Yeah, Jintet trying to get towards the church, but there's too much there as well. Likely gonna get shut down. We have an 155mm artillery piece here, still trying its best for Scoof. Fusiliers have moved back into the town. Milan 2 there will find the Leo 1A5 in the open. Can it get the hit? No, it does miss. And Scoof likely gonna be able to get out of line of sight before the Milan 2 gets another shot. The Fusiliers pushing forward. Zwillinger under fire, getting killed off here. MX-30 helping out. Artillery not on target. Milan 2 gets another shot against the Martyr, gets the kill there. And we have another napalm plane coming around here. Another phantom napalm for the Panzer Grenadiers. Will get the drop there. Will burn them down as the Eyehawk gets a long-range shot here. This time around for Scoof. Tornado AA in the sky again. We have an F-18 on the other side. Out to fight as well. Should take a fight if it gets too deep with the Tornado. That's an okay engagement, but both sides taking some damage. Ihawk too far away. Rolands might get the tornado once more here. Ooh, get hit, but it has a sliver of health left. Just not quite 5 damage on it beforehand. And the tornado cluster number 2 is deep here, and there's no second F-18 here. Once more, F-18, where are those? As those would be really, really helpful now. CV about to reach the center, about to get the tick online here for Stahlbrecher. There we go. The other one was just barely killed before it could get the capture there. Tornado playing with fire here. Rolands getting a hit. Tornado cluster without a drop this time around. But a second and preferably a third F-18 really would make this a lot safer for the forces of Stahlbrecher on the ground here. But he keeps...
Finally, a Hinetes unit getting in and closing the southeastern hole in the defense of Stahl here. This game is so intense; it's difficult to even analyze this or say anything. And it is now the Harrier is going to be diving in, taking out.
Yeah, once more, no F-18 in the sky. Double AA units here coming around. The Ehrlichen AA gun entering the battlefield here with this too. I feel like this should just be fighters. But Stahlbrecher, yeah, investing into ground-based AA once more. I mean, the 2 Rolands in the middle, they have done pretty fine for him. But I feel like with F-18s, you could just secure more kills here. And the Sultan pushing in into the north. He only has tanks there right now. He needs new infantry. 3 more infantry squads being bought right now. He gets another good tank kill against the Leo 185, but Skoof does get the pressure back online here. And Skoof also moving around on the south. The MR10 at least did move away again. But the Leo 185s here now out for blood. The Jinite out pretty far there. Ooh, Leo 185 does get missed by the MX-30. 3 of them around here. 1 Saplier, 1 normal EM2, and the Recon 1 in decent spot. But they need the Recon Jinite to actually give them good targets, and that one will go down here. And then the Panzer Grenadiers might just push down 2 of these tanks before they can get enough value. MX-30 does find a hit against the Leo 185. Leaves it at half hit points. Does get the kill there with the second shot. Panzer Grenadiers go get the push in though. Cluster Bomber dropping on the already dead tank. And Stahlbrecher here needs to get the hell out. Saplier might find another good shot. Does get a hit. But at the same time, Leo goes down. Second tornado. Doesn't quite get the bomb drop off. That would be the time for an F-18. Wait, why? What? Why did it just drop 2 bombs into the... What? It dropped?
Yeah,
what?
That must have been a very, very strange interaction.
Leo 185 does go down on the south against the Saplier, because I guess the Leo 185 thought, okay, that cluster bomber would have gotten the kill. I have no idea how that cluster bombing drop happened, but it gives Stahlbrecher's tank another life, saved by the hands of God there, basically, as the Air Force is for sure not being the one saving them here. Spanish Air Force could dominate this, but it just doesn't show up for work today, as it only one pilot here seemingly showing up the whole day. MX-30 EM2 moving around. Tornado HE here. Might find the Mando. Ooh, just barely leaving it alive. +1 here for Stahlbrecher currently going on. Panzer Grenadiers pushing the middle. Likely gonna have a bad day, but finally another F-18 here. Showing up a bit late, but better late than never. Siesta maybe over now, as the F-18 is in the sky. We need more of these here now, as that's really the only angle where I feel like Skoof is still ahead, and it should be so easy to shut down with a tap of 4 F-18s.
Yeah, like Stahl has somehow managed just via trades, even not getting the perfect ones, but just via trades. Like Stahl has managed to actually stabilize, and we are yet to see any Leopard 2A Leopard 2s, but also we are yet to see all the Harriers getting shot down. Speaking of which, F-18 now pushing in behind the enemy lines with Ihawk actually just loaded into a truck, so it's not going to not going to be firing. If the C-15 just runs off right now, it could maybe get into warp speed. before the Ihawk gets unloaded.
Ihawk doesn't even unload on the new position, as I'm not even sure you've realized what happened. He bought a Harrier, but the Harrier just never appeared on the front line because the F-18 got the kill there on the rear. And that is an important little victory here for Stahlbrecher. Tornado HE coming around again though, so more F-18s needed. You have more, they need to come out, as that HE bomber is out for blood. Tries to hit the Mando. Ooh, changes target. Oh, that's a mistake. That's another big mistake here by Scoof. And this time around, the Ehrlichen and the Roland do decent damage. Another Tornado pushed back without a bomb drop. And we have the +2 here for Stahlbrecher, and that +2 is going to be enough to get him ahead throughout the rest of the game. Mando here disengaging. Whilst we have a bit more AA coming around, more ground forces here. Trades currently totally fine for Stahlbrecher. Not great, but the MR10s generate constant value. His tanks are in good spots, that he did trade ahead on the ground already. Plus more air investment on his opponent's side right now. So he has time to get through here. Milan 2 does go down. More Fusileros coming around. As on the other side, 155mm trying to get an opening in the south, but there are a lot of vehicles here for Stahlbrecher. Not enough infantry here for my liking. 1 or 2 more infantry squads would be nice, but they are on the way now as well. Fusileros being brought up. At the same time, Leo 1 and A5 in the north goes down again. So yeah, the lack of Leo 2s, a bit confusing to me as well. Like, there we go, finally. First Leo 2A3 shows up for work as well, just like the F-18s. Technological advantage, not something that Scoof was interested in, it seems like. Because they kinda eat MX-30s for breakfast if you set them up nicely. But, yeah, only coming up now. So, yeah, a slightly weird decision in my eyes on both sides there with the units brought up. But situation here currently for sure favoring our player in blue.
Yeah, Stahl has managed to now put a stop to the counterattack down south. There have been some miss micro out of Scoof, but really it's just the number of AMX-30s in such a wide concave, and all of their excellent HE weapons are more than the West German infantry can actually push through. Now, the biggest attack right now that seems to be that seems to have potential might be the middle attack, but not yet. There's two Leopard 2s. Oh no, there are actually both of them are moving up top. So X-ray, even though it seems like it's under siege by this artillery and units, is not where Scoop wants to attack.
Yeah, another Leo 1A5 gets one shot up there. 2 Leo 2A3s now on the battlefield, and they gonna be a pain for the MX-30s, but there are enough toes by now on the battlefield that they have to be watching out for their back as well. And there are just so many tanks they have to shoot through now, because and they don't have their assistant Leo 1A5s anymore. Like, what you want to have in this matchup in 2nd Panzer currently on the ground is 1 Leo 2A3 that the enemy just can't penetrate, but will shoot at first, because tanks always aim for the highest threat level, and heavy tanks have a higher threat level than medium tanks, so they're gonna try to shoot at the Leo 2A3 even though they deal less damage to it. Meaning that your Leo 1A5s, which still do a good amount of damage to the enemy AMX-30s, can fire without being shot at. And that way around you get way more damage on the enemy than they get on you. But for that you still need to have a couple of Leo 1A5s remaining on, and they're all dead. There is not a single one. So the Leo 2A3s have to do it on their own, and then they still don't take that much damage from the enemy maybe, but they also don't deal as much damage themselves. Meaning that the MX-30s can be saved here. F-18 diving deep here. Diving into the Tornado, but gets shut down by the Ihawk. A bit of an overextension there by Stahlbrecher. Really, the F-18s shouldn't hunt down the Tornado AA. They should just come around every single time the Tornado bombers show up. A bit of a wrong focus fire there maybe as well, but Marder one's going down on the ground, and as long as he keeps the ground fights going as they are, Stahlbrecher is on a good path. So here we go. Quadruple Tornado Squadron showing up just as the F-18 went down. This is where you want would want the F-18s coming out, but they are not here. And the Tornadoes coming in for a bombing run here. Not all of them seemingly interacting, only one dropping at a time. But Cluster Bomber here gets a decent hit. Not getting a kill, actually. Both Tornadoes that dropped first did survive. Next one here. Ooh, not getting a dropout. Next Tornado AG doesn't get a dropout either. iHawk gets killed by the artillery. And the third one doesn't drop. So in the end, this could have been a lot worse for Stahl. Once more, bit of a whiff here. Once more, targeting units instead of ground with the Tornado AGs. And that's the big mistake there. You need to target ground, otherwise these bomb retargeting issues will come up. So Skiff here wasting the last big chance of really swinging this game. He still can do it with a grind here in the north with his Leo 283s by now on the front line. But this was the way of just crashing through Papa, and I think that's not gonna happen now.
Yeah, it was the like sending them one at a time. I get the point, but you should have just pre-ordered them to all drop their bombs at the same time. That is the way to maximize survivability. You don't want there to be like a 2-3 second wait time where they enemy AA guns can redirect and target you again. And even like the Oerlikons and the AMX, the Roland 2s are not the best AA here, but they are still functioning quite well. Tornado AA just flying around here, maybe even just trying to bait out some shots for maybe artillery targeting. But yeah, no, the artillery is full ammunition. It's not firing at anything. So far, Leopard 2A3 manages to get into Papa with only M65.
Leo 2A3 going down
left.
though. The M65 getting the kill on the base one. Tornado gets the hit on the C-15 AT. Cannot find the kill. Missile coming out, and it gets the kill there on the good AT plane. The Leo 2A3 leader will stop the tick there. And the M110s have worked out at the second bombing run with the Harrier and the Tornado HE doing the damage. The first one badly coordinated, but the second one did the damage. And once more, no F-18s in the sky here for Stahlbrecher. Will get the Tornado here with the Oerlikon. It's a good gun. And will start to get the contest here against the Leo 2A3 on the ground again, with the Mando leader moving in as well. Fusiliero starting the damage there. And MR10's likely gonna keep this under bombardment for the rest of the game as well. But where are the F-18s? Why are there no F-18s in the sky? 155mm artillery missing its shots here as well. Fusiliero's getting stand down by the Leo 2A3. But MR10's likely gonna find some value against it. Getting it stun. Forcing it out of the zone. Will get the +2 likely back. Might even get the kill there on the Leo 2A3. Milan 2 coming around as well. And Skoof has no support here anymore. Seedplane now coming around as well. Oerlikon not getting targeted. I'm not quite sure if that issue is still around. I believe the gun-based radar AA still doesn't get hit by Seed. Mistake that Eugen introduced when they changed something about how they behave with damage of ATGMs, I believe, against ground-based AA. And ever since then, those can't be hit by Seed. And yeah, Oerlikon here does survive as M110's rotating around. And Skoof wasted the air a bit too much, but Stahlbrecher not doing so well against that. Stahlbrecher, just like in the quarterfinals, dominant on the ground here. And this time around, unlike in the last game, the M110s have kept getting results. In the last game, they stopped getting results at some point, but here they did do damage for 30 minutes. And that really has him ahead here now. And he's about to get ahead in points as well. Pushing in the south now, and this is not looking great for the defense of Skoof either.
Yeah, with the air support here, AT plane missing but stunning down both of those martyrs and really lowering the cohesion of the forces around them, so they're not really in fighting capacity. Once again, what a damn game! Like everybody in the chat there being, oh, we got a 9-1 points ratio. Everybody was betting on Skoof here, and to be fair, I was also thinking that Skoof was going to win this. But like, let's think about the stuff that actually worked out here for Brunette. Number one, Jinetes overperformed really well. Like the Jinetes unit up north that held Alpha got so many good engagements. It destroyed the Jaeger Aufklärer, destroyed a Leopard 1 at some point. It actually up-vetted itself. And the Jinetes down south, also large infantry squads, now with the excellent AT weapon, the C90, fast-firing long range, and the range increase, of course, is also a massive accuracy increase because unit that used to have a 70% accuracy at 500 meters now has 70% accuracy at 700 meters. So yeah, Hinetes obviously a great performer here. M110, as we see, Stahlbrecher very, very actively used it. And even when the Leopard ones were kind of just doing quite well against the sub-leers, and even when Stahl was just losing them in engagement that weren't well designed, the M110s managed to punish so many Leopard ones, managed to push them back, managed to wound them, force them backwards into resupplying, and thus kept up the like offensive tempo, even when like Stahl didn't necessarily deserve to have it. Of course, the removing the Milan twos is also an important duty. And third of all, I think the Guy Boy wasn't out in massive numbers. Instead, was out in as like a veteran unit in small numbers. Performs really well. A lot of suppression damage, a lot of just on the ground damage in general, and the like helicopters, even on longer ranges, get sprayed down pretty reliably by the Guy Boy, even though its bullet speed in game seems to be comically slow. And I also checked that it did pretty nice like damage against the planes flying around it. Of course, its anti-plane range is way too slow to be actual anti-air, but just having them around meant that there was going to be 1 or 2 extra points of damage done reliably. And of course, the suppression is very important in making sure that enemy planes miss their shots. And the Spanish infantry, apparently Stahlbrecher thinks that you should bring out the C90s first, and then when you run out of the C90s, you switch into the M65 units. We didn't see any of the infantry fighting vehicles, the infantry transports that we saw with 8th Infantry. So instead of just speed in the deployment as well as the economic aspect of selling the truck automatically was how the Spanish infantry was brought out here, with the fire support not having any of the lag grenade launcher machine guns, instead relying purely on the AMX-30s for this. And in the end, it did work. Even the napalm plane felt like it worked.
And we get another AMX-30 division now. And yeah, we talked about it when we started the stream, and we went through the pick and ban phase. 9th Panzer is a weird one here on Omen, but it has the long range, the long game ref against 5th Blindé. It has the better tank in the matchup. T-72's eating AMX-30s for breakfast. So 5th Blindé needs to do something a bit faster here. Stahlbrecher needs to be the one in the driving seat in this one. And that is going to be interesting. Omen, relatively large but slow ticking map, but a lot of room for maneuver. MX-30s can do a lot with their speed there. The Apilas infantry of the French can a lot of damage in the forest, and their special forces commandos can be put into good places as well. But 9th Panzer just, like, if the game goes beyond the 30-minute mark, I feel like 9th Panzer likely gonna have this. So Stahlbrecher needs to do good damage early on. And they're both setting up right now. We're about to get into the next game. So yeah, let's start the prediction already. Who will win on Omen? Will it be Stahlbrecher or will it be the 9th Panzer of Skoof?
Yeah, once again, a default server name, by the way. But I'd say that the 9th Panzer on Omen is so scary because it's so easy for either the defenses on the side zones or in the middle, or just the straight up infantry attack. Even sometimes the concentrations of infantry and the predictable locations in which ATGMs are going to be in, those are going to be money targets for the napalm artillery. We've seen some early napalm artillery, even in earlier games. I don't remember if it. I don't think it was by Skoof, but the early napalm artillery. If you, as long as you have a decently defensive opener with the Motoaufklärers BMP ones just holding the line and preventing like immediate first-minute infantry fighting. I think there's a good chance we're going to see some early napalm artillery that's going to basically clear the way for the standard issue 3 T-72 veteran, 3 veteran T-72 opener. But Fifth Blinde is a good division. It's not as overpowering as it used to be back in the day. 9th Panzer also good division, not as overpowering. But like you said, the Fifth Blinde is going to be on a very significant timer. And if Stahlbecker manages to just get the train rolling, manages to get the force the enemy into a bad location, or maybe get some extra information at some point. But I just feel like these large zones of Delta and Gulf kind of encourage people to do early aggro. It's easy to get the tick up early on, but even then, large zones means that the enemy can also hold corners and can keep up reinforcing these zones, kind of meaning that the player with the weaker tanks wants to capture the whole zone and wants to hold the reinforcement roads with ATGMs to prevent the T-72s from engaging them. Like if you look at Delta there and or Gulf, there are buildings in the corner and covered reinforcement roads for 9th Panzer to basically counterattack. So 5E is under so much pressure to just get stuff done as early as possible. Of course, they do also. 5E has amazing and fast-moving ATGMs defenses. The hot missiles and the helicopters can do can be a lot of problems. And the cheaper aircraft of the French are not the best, but they do get reliable bombers, and they can. If the East Germans start spamming their tanks in some corners, that can be very risky. So they want to avoid any cluster bombers, any Jaguars, and Auf 1 artillery is also an advantage here for Stahlbrecher, and I predict that we're probably going to see it out pretty soon. But even then, I have a feeling that Skoof, being a mean and strong and decisive player, I think Skoof picked 9th Panzer for a reason, and I like to think the reason is the napalm artillery.
Yeah, the napalm artillery is hard to target on this map, though. Like, you have a lot of space to dodge it, and I'm not sure if the game actually will go that long for it to enter the battlefield, because it is expensive, and you need to actually have concentration of forces. So I feel like last map, the thing is just nasty on Mount River. Omen, I'm not so sure. I feel like it's more going to be down to just T-72Ss and T-72 M1s just locking things down here. But yeah, we have the triple AMX-10 here from the get-go. On the other side, no deployment yet coming in here for Skoof. It's going to be interesting to see what Skoof is trying to achieve with 9th Panzer, as that opener is the most key part of that division, because the opener is the weakest part of that division. It will roll up with a good amount of forces from minute 2 onward, but the first 2 minutes are for sure its weakest part.
Yeah, I know it is a wider map here, but even then, if you look at just the entrances into Bravo, a lot of buildings are concentrated around those entrances there, like natural locations for defenses to hold up or attack. And if there is too much of an infantry aggro coming in for Stahlbrecher, you want to deal with those 60-point Grenadier Voltigeurs some other way. You don't want to fight them hand to hand.
Yeah, but napalm doesn't do anything to buildings, so using it in Bravo doesn't really do anything for you. Like,
Still doesn't?
no. like
Oh.
like flamer units do damage to infantry when they shoot into them, but napalm from napalm launcher, it does destroy them eventually, but it doesn't kill the units inside. So that's the thing. So the napalm launcher is great on maps where there are big forests, and we have a relaunch here because it seems like Skoof this time around didn't come around with like, I think like there was a connection issue on Scoop's side of things. So we'll see. We're rehosting. Wrong deck. Okay. Yep. We're back. Okay, 22 seconds. Oh, it was actually fixed last patch? Oh,
Okay, well that's nice to hear.
was it in the patch notes? I didn't see that. So now
I
napalm.
don't.
Ah, right.
I
Yeah,
don't.
napalm does more damage to buildings. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But it still doesn't kill units inside, but it does more damage to buildings. I remember that now. Okay, I wasn't sure if that's actually in the current patch. Okay, it wasn't sure if that comes around. Okay, so Bravo, yeah, it will destroy buildings faster. And yeah, that's why Stahlberg here used the napalm bomber as well. Okay, MX-10 RC coming around. Okay, I didn't know the hidden tech was already enabled into the live build. Kind of forgot about that part. So yeah, that makes sense. The damage towards once it's landed, yeah, the units in building still surviving, but it destroys towns quicker. So that might help in Bravo. But even then, I think the French, you don't want to enable them that way either by just flattening the town. Oh my goodness! I love the opener though. Yeah, it's kind of what you need to do
Whoop.
with 9. It is also what you need to do against the MX-10s. They can't shoot up. Like autocannon units like Luxus or the VRCs of the Spanish or so, they can shoot your little Me Too helicopters down. Units with 50 cal can do okay against them as well. MX-10s, they only have 7mm MGs. They're not gonna shoot down your Me Too's, but they are pretty lightly armored, so your 23mm gun can kill them quite quickly. So starting with 4 Me Too Urns here, that makes perfect sense. We have some Mistrals coming up here relatively early on as well, in an AA little vehicle as well, but the question is, will the AMX-10s even survive that long?
Yeah, I mean the French can send out fast or cheap aircraft, which can pretty easily hunt down Mi2s. But Scoof is already prepared for it with a Cube. Cube hits early on into the French air tab. It basically locks down like 200 points and prevents you from using that to anything else. So would be maybe a necessary but still a big risk in defending AMX-10s from those urns. The Adder helicopters here, I think, are going to be so crucial in actually spotting where anything is coming. And as I was commenting on before that last game ended, Starbreaker's attack seems to be going straight up into Delta, and it is going from the southwestern corner of the map. I think this is probably the fastest road, right? There are other roads to go, but I think this is probably the fastest one. And also, it could, with decent enough luck, be hidden from the urns. None of the urns are going to be flying into that direction, at least not immediately.
I'm not sure if it's the fastest road. There are some. Well, I think the fastest road would actually be one of the field roads, if I remember correctly, but I might be wrong. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that push towards the Delta goes. It makes
Yeah.
sense to bring it around. It also makes sense that Scoof is not pushing towards Gulf, being the slower division, just going with one BMP1 mod Aufklärer into a pretty good defensive spot and setting up with a defensive line there. Stahlbrecher pushing towards Alpha, I could have seen as well, but that's maybe for some more daring players than Stahlbrecher. Like, Stahlbrecher is doing aggressive openers quite often, and he is not. He is taking the advantages when he sees them. He is uh, playing aggressive if he knows his division needs to, but he's not someone who does daring deep dives into Alpha, for example, which is a +2 points, so it can get you a big take. But there are players that take gambles like that more often. Tiberius Rancor, for example, I feel like would have either overstacked even harder on Delta or even pushed Alpha here in this matchup, just trying to get trades whilst setting the enemy under pressure. But yeah, Me Too Urn here
Commando
looked pretty solid.
Commando helicopter drop on Alpha, followed up by AMX-10s, all of them together. That's what I mean. That's what we will see from Medi, maybe.
Yeah,
Uh,
with 2 Jaguar rockets to escort them and shoot down helicopters, and yeah, shoot down enemy recon as well. Like that would be the push, and leaving India with like 1 Ickler that comes in at minute 1, and Hotel as the other point to defend, or or something like that.
And third wave, you buy every single helicopter you have.
Yeah. Yeah, all the gunship results coming around. And but yeah, AMX Apprentices here, they will be able to face these T-72s. We have one MUV here, MUV being pretty cost efficient, 16 frontal armor, 19 pen, and the other side doesn't have the greatest ATGM planes, so MUV here is fine. Like against divisions where the enemy has fantastic ATGM planes, you always want to go with the M1 and don't take the sheep cut with the MUV because they get one-shot by ATGM planes, whilst the M1 for 10 points more has that extra hit point. But against the MX-30s, the MUV are basically the perfect balance and between cost efficiency and power level, where they overwhelm the enemy but don't cost that much more. So I really like the deployment here for Scoof. I'm pretty worried for Startbreaker's forces here. And yeah, Stahlbreaker really needs to get some damage done within the first 20 minutes and get the tick, or at least a good point advantage here, so that he can play on from there. Maybe we see it early at artillery piece. It has worked out quite well in the previous games. But as you pointed out, artillery on the side of Scoof, pretty good as well.
Yep, it's the from looking at the ATGM deployment and the grenade machine gun deployments into the middle, Scoop's plan seems to be to just fly over Bravo and take the flanking ATGM positions. Both the north and south side of Bravo has them, but one of those fagots was cut off for savings, I believe, and now actually the second one has also been cut off. But it's pretty clear that what the strategy is. The strategy is to use the helicopters to get the Bravo control, and then with these recon helicopters now getting redirected into around Delta, it's more likely that they're going to spot the attack that is coming in, predicting correctly that Delta is the obvious target of 5E early game bullshit. And sorry, I got traumatized by AMX-10s back in the day. And yeah, with even a T-72 being sent out there to hold this, single T-72 can be fought by two AMX-10s and two Brennuses, but it's gonna go down fighting and might not even be destroyed if it gets good engagements on range. So yeah, like I agree with you. I'm kind of worried for Stahl here. The games are 1-1, and we are absolutely want to see game number 5 with the British London defense division. So you could see a Stahlbreaker loss bringing us a little bit closer to this. But so far, I just want the games to go long. I dislike the idea of seeing too many all-ins getting immediately hard countered.
Yeah, we have some interesting movement here for the Aufklärers in the far south as well here for Scoof, trying to get the UVATs deep into the enemy rear there, really getting some good intel on the enemy spawn roads. And yeah, the Me Too adder plus the quadruple Me Too yearns. That's really the nightmare of the French recon detachments. Alouette at least will start spotting this, and the Eclairs and the MX-10s then can react to that and try to fall back into Mistral range. But even a single Mistral with the VAB might get overwhelmed by this. The VAB at least gives it a good amount of extra firepower against those Me Too Yearns. And we have a Mirage 200 here coming around. Starting to shoot down recon helicopters as well. Gets the Me Too US adder. No MiG-23s on the other side, but there is a coup. Coup not shooting just yet. Gets a missile out now. But it goes into the ground. And Mirage gets the first Me Too Yearn. Mistral's coming around towards the center. So far the helicopters haven't found anything for Scoof, but they have kept the MX-10s from going too deep at the same time, so they still do what they need to do as the VLR-850 gets shut down there. Mirage.
The Grenadier Voltigeurs managed to unload themselves in the middle, and now the Stahl suddenly has a supremacy of forces around Bravo. This is going so well for Stahl. So well. And the Mistral VAP T20 AA combo is already up here, so now the Urns are going to have to take some distance.
Yeah, AMX-10 finds a shot on the PMP-1 in the south. gets a hit there, and that's the recon BMP-1 of these Germans. Doesn't have smoke. Does not get hit by the second shot, but will struggle to get out of line of sight. Just barely makes it there. Me too, Jörn. Shooting down the Dragon Para. That's always a great kill. That's one of the good GSR units for the French, so getting their best recon infantry killed is pretty important, but two Me Too Jörns once more paying with their life. Stahlbrecher trying to push forward in the center. VAB there helping out, but T-72 MEV plus Mudschützen plus the 30mm grenade launcher still should hold this, and Su-22 cluster bomber coming out here. And there is a pretty decent concentration of forces here. Double kill potential with this one. It does instead do nothing, and might get pushed back here by the VAB and the Mistral. Mistral not getting the hit. Uats running not quite as deep as it could be. AMX-10 RC needs to be careful. Gets a good hit against the MEV, but needs to disengage. Good reaction there by Stahlbrecher. Not letting that hit. Brennus under attack by the Su-22. Su-22 does get hit by the Mistral and pushed back before it can drop. Big hit by Stahlbrecher's Mistral there. That was so key, as now both the MEV in the south and the mod officers there are in mortal danger. MEV down to 1 hit point. Did already use its smoke. Mod Aufklärers get shot by the Grenadier Voltigeurs. MX-10 RC gets killed by the MEV at least. It does go down with a bang, but the Brennus likely gonna find and kill it here now. And, aiming towards the north now against the other MEV. Needs to be careful to not get flanked, but gets a side shot against the other MEV coming in. This fight is going so well. The Su-22 AT gets it killed though. Oh, the swings. Brennus is number 2 with the MX-10 gets the kill. This Su-22 does not have any ammunition left. BMP-1 with the Conquerors goes down. The other MEV, it's routed. I'm not quite sure how it got routed, but it is routed. And the MX-10 RC has a line of sight on it. It's not shooting at it though. Shoots at the Mudschützen. Su-22 AT stays on the battlefield. Coop gets a hit against the Mirage. Doesn't get the kill. And the Su-22 AT goes down. Scoof needs to be careful to not lose cohesion here. He has basically no infantry left. Gets a good hit against the Mirage number 2 as well. But the Su-22 AT going down is big. The MEV is still around here in the forest. Might shoot down the Alouette, but can't really take any real fights. The FR-F1 pushing forward. The SPW did fall back. The MEV needs to fall back here as well. Will find the AMX-10 RC, but goes down to it. As that one obviously finds it as well. MEV in the middle goes down to an AMX-30 and a Gazelle Hot as well. Scoof is falling apart here. The 5th Blindé is getting the early game advantage that it was aiming for. As Scoof just... too many bad trades here, too many tanks pushing a bit too deep. And this is looking really promising for Stahlbrecher's 5th.
Yeah, I mean, just zoom out and look at the coverage of red around the map. It's pretty bad. There are still like some amount of map control. The coup basically alone is going to. Oh wait, no, the C-72 move and the BMP-1, they're actually going to deploy into Delta. I mean, they have to be rerouted soon because that's a what an ass am I? I mean, just looking but yeah, I mean, it wasn't just like good luck. It was good unit composition. Having the Mistral out there, the Mi2 Urns getting busted down by the fighters, as well as the Mistrals, both in the middle and in the southern attack. The VAB T20, I actually didn't know that thing has smoke, and it used the smoke very effectively, and it probably saved itself and the Mistral from a burst of rockets coming in. And then the T-72s were just not in the correct positions. The French AT weapons could fire at them long range, could do a huge stun damage onto them, and the slow rate of fire also just put it into a bad position against the AMX-10s and the Brennuses. And if you have a number of those fast units moving all around the place, and the T-72 is a relatively slow tank. You don't have any proper infantry coverage for them because your points went into the air game, and the air game just didn't pay off.
Yeah, and Scoof once more gets bitten by targeting ground units directly and then losing line of sight of them with bombers. That SU-22 cluster, if it would have gotten one of the two apprentices, the fight in the south likely would have gone way in favor of the T-72s, but because both apprentices survived against the cluster bomber, one of the T-72 MEVs went down in the north, the other one in the south couldn't help out. That way around, the tank fight there went pretty decisively. The SU-22 AT staying around for too long, really big mistakes in the air fights there. And if you double invest into two SU-22s that early on, you need to get results out of them, especially with a bit slower division. Like, not a slow division by any means. It's, 9th has enough stuff that it usually can field the front line, but not if you attrition through it that quickly. And yeah, the SU-22 cluster, they're really the biggest whiff and the biggest failure in Scoof's usage of units, and that just let the South collapse. And Fifth Blende always has been relentless. If you give them an opener, they can push through it like nearly no other division out there. And Sabra here rolls into game number 4 on match ball here now, thanks to that really decisive victory on Omen.
Yeah, and there's also the little fact that there was the moment where the Aufklärer in the middle were going to destroy the Grenadier Voltigeur while they were still in the truck, and they didn't, and this could have completely just ended Stahl's attempts on holding the middle. Could have maybe led to Skoof feeling way more secure, because Skoof could have just kept reinforcing infantry and ATGMs into the town, but already losing that very early engagement and not having the Bravo town taken by the helicopters. Everything just went badly for Skoof, and it was Stahl had some excellent control, excellent micro, excellent decision making, and frankly some good luck.
And yeah, we're gonna have 60th Panzer Division on Black Forest for the match spoil here for Stahlberg here. And that 79th is always looking really scary when Skoof is playing it. But 16th Panzer Division has kind of been the division of the tournament so far. And Stahlbecher is strong with divisions like it. Like, it plays quite similar to Fifth Blende and Brunette, his two divisions that he has gotten his points in this series so far with. It's having a good, medium, modernized fire control tank of NATO with the Leo 185BE. It has solid infantry. It has a good couple of autocannons with its IFVs as well, and some cheap, nice bombing planes. You don't need to invest too much into AA. It doesn't quite have the great artillery that Brunette has, but still M109 is doing just fine. And Black Forest gives you a lot of room to maneuver around as well. So 79th gets a better opener this time around. Otherwise, that won't go that well either. And we already have the game set up, so let's jump right in there and let's get the prediction going for you guys as well. And Stahl did win the last one. Who will win on Black Forest? As we even have to fast forward because they really went into this game quickly here.
Yeah, speaking of the good and bad map sides, I would argue that Stahl is actually getting the good side for a forward deployment division here. The I think the journey is way more clear when you get Charlie for basically free. Charlie is the sawmill division up there in the north, and the Luxembourgian Space Marines, the Fusiliers, can take that for free, and basically it means that the enemy is most likely going to recon it and then going to have to contain the roads out of Charlie, because light recon vehicles, special forces infantry, just like standard Eclaireur recon squads, all of them can threaten the reinforcement roads into Alpha, or even the reinforcement road of just straight up in the base of the red player. This means that 79th most likely, if 79th is going to play this completely standard, I think there is going to be like Spetsnaz GRU in the front line with the tanks kind of building a force in the area middle of Bravo, Foxtrot, and Alpha. Those industrial halls are going to be like the main line of sight blockers, and the long ranges and the very good speed of the T80 IZD 29 will basically allow it to engage on long ranges with the missiles, and if the Belgians show any weakness, they can then move in as a group and destroy them. So wide front line of standard missiles, concurses even, just fagots would be enough, but I'm not sure if 79th gets them. And the tank force right behind it, micros in for the kill, and any kind of close range engagement is where the Belgians are going to excel. The Belgian infantry squads get way more machine guns than anybody else compared to their numbers. 7-man infantry squad gets 3 machine guns. They also get their lightly armored, but and also ATGM deficient infantry fighting vehicles with the Oerlikon for penetration, good autocannons. And with the Gepards, the Belgian mech blob has like so much HE damage, which is why I am so happy to announce you that Stahl is doing a town attack. This is my strategy. This is the suboptimal strategy that I play. I do it with mech divisions. I do it with infantry assaults. Especially I do it with helicopter drops. But yeah, getting into Alpha right in the opener, dodging all of that dangerous open ground and all of those predictable ATGM locations and tree lines. No. Stahl is going into Alpha, veteran troops, forward deployment units covering it, and by the time you get into Alpha, there's going to be a big problem is that the mech fusiliers just have really bad AT weapons, so they can't deal even with the standard BMP2s, not efficiently at least. But to compensate for this, the standard Motorstrelke units are going to be just melt away in front of the Belgian super soldiers.
Yeah, Plimia's here coming around as well, and Stahl really coming in hot here with 3 Leo 1Bs. And if you get through that southern part and get Alpha secured from the south, you also can shut down the reinforcements there and go even deeper and maybe flank towards Echo from Alpha, which can be pretty scary. Me too, trying to figure things out here in the south. Little recon helicopter being sent out from the 79th, the only thing in the whole sector. But it is in a good spot. It will actually fall back here after realizing that a couple of Fusiliers coming around. Question is, does it keep line of sight on it? Ooh, F-16 immediately coming in. The Belgian F-16, terrible fighter, but helicopters that are defenseless, easily shut down by it. And yeah, it has double AM9Ps, and it immediately gets hit by a coup here as well. 20 ECM, lower ECM than the American versions, lower quality missiles as well. And that really leaves them down, hanging quite a bit. The Humvee here, not finding the gas. Foxtrot being only defended lightly by Stahlbrecher, so you will get control over there. And it seems like Scoof has figured these things out because T80BV and the TO55 rotating south after the Me Too got shut down. You seeing the Fusiliers pushing here, so great read here by Scoof, and that makes this a bit awkward here for Stahlbrecher.
Yeah, Stahl is very much on the clock. There are 4 flame tanks, upwetted flame tanks even, coming in. 2 of them already entering the town with T80. The problem with the town attack is that it is suboptimal. It is difficult to transition into a normal game if you fail it. But if Stahl just if the pressure can be kept up, and especially if that reinforcement road on the southeast of the town can be secured, that is like the crucial path to actually winning this. Now the problem is that all the mech is now currently looking at this. Now it is possible. No ATGMs. Oh wait, no, there is a ATGM in the church, so Bomber would have to take care of that. Otherwise, yeah, it's gonna reveal itself right now.
Conquerors here firing out against the Mech Fusiliers. Does fail to get the hit. And yeah, those TO-55s and T-80s likely gonna shut down this push. You can't deal with the 79th tanks frontally as the Belgians. You need to figure out some ATGM hits, some cluster bombing hits with your Mirage 5s or something like that. SU-25 AT here out from the beginning as well. This is really scary. And no, this push is not looking so hot for Starbreaker right now. The Leo 1A5 still revealed, so the SU-25s actually can get through there, get a hit. Gepards are arriving, so the SU-25 does take a bit of a beating on the way out, but it stays alive. Me-2 helicopter goes down, but this push is not it for Stahl. Stahl needs to immediately abandon this, but his losses might already be too high, as he lost a lot of Mech Fusiliers with their transports, the Leo 1A5, and a good couple of other forces here trying to achieve this, whilst basically not killing anything else on the other side. And that means that a push towards Charlie now is easy work here for Scoof, but he also could just swing towards Bravo. Like, all the ways are pretty much open right now, and Stahl is scrambling to try to get a defensive line up here.
Yeah, the way to do this more efficiently is to do a pincer attack where the main infantry force moves into the western entrance, as we're seeing right now, with the tanks and a limited infantry force moving in through the forest, and tanks and ATGMs threatening the from the safe forest southwest. And instead, the big mech attack, it would have worked if they had gotten a little bit closer, but unfortunately, the recon information was there way too early. And yeah, now with the TO-55s moving up here, we're seeing, oh no, we're seeing just Pioneers and Leopards moving in. And the problem is that the problem with this attack and keeping it up is that these...
Oh no, Leo 1A5 gets side-shotted by the Conquerors as well. That got into the church tower. And yeah, that's just another crucial unit here going down. Starbeck here is getting the CV in, is getting a tick, but he needs a lot of defensive units here if he wants to keep that bit of point lead that he's getting right now to hold him through the rest of this game. And issue of the Belgians is that they need to have mechanized units to deal with enemy tanks, because the infantry just can't do it. The infantry has the worst AT weapons in the game. The M72 A1 laws are not quite the worst. There are a couple of other launchers that have worse accuracy than they do, but penetration-wise, 11 pen is terrible. And you have it on all your units, basically. A couple of units have slightly less terrible AT, but nothing really gets good. The Blindeside RL83 still ends up at 14 pen, terrible accuracy. So yeah.
But Protoss, look at the reinforcement. The reinforcement road, if you buy units into the town at Alpha, they will automatically move next to Charlie. And if the TO-55s move just a little bit further, they'll be able to just openly fire at those reinforcements. And if Charlie gets taken, the automatically just buying units into the entrance will lead to them moving via this road. And it's very easy to let this scramble you and to lose a bunch of units this way. Okay, so reinforcements getting bought into sieging Foxtrot. Actually, Foxtrot does have Fusiliers and does have a special forces recon squad to do some spotting. And with this M109 artillery now coming up, it's possible for Stahl to transition into a normal game, but it's not gonna be the best. Like, there is a reason that strategy that Stahl attempted is not popular.
Yeah, Leo 185 here now in a fight with the TO-55s. Get a good first hit. We have a Milan 2 unloading to assisted, so the tier 55s actually will have to give this up. Motostrelki getting under attack here as well. But yeah, Stahl basically needs to play this as a defensive mastermind now, whilst keeping up a bit of pressure whenever there is an opportunity, but he now needs to play this with uh, traits in mind from every single engagement, giving as little room as possible whilst getting a trade out and then disengaging again. Gets a good kill on the Conquerors, still getting a nice shot down there in the north. Spetsnaz GIU disengaging for Scoof, has 2 more Conquerors behind it, and the BMP2s arriving. So the little weaknesses in the line of Scoof already starting to disappear. As a BMP2 with a Motostrelki in the south, there is a Scimitar of Stahlbrecher there. There is the Milan 2 in the building, but Scoof's combine arms here is getting better and better. Limia in the north getting revealed, but the Fusileros will lose this fight. The AFB goes down to the Conqueror's missile, and we have an M109 again. Sharper here once more trying to play it a bit with artillery, aiming for the Plymia in the north. Might run down the Conquerors afterwards, but he is starting to lose frontline units here again, and he just can't afford any single loss at this point. He needs to keep all his units together because his combined arms here is really fragile at this point. He needs to get a couple more TOW 2s from there. He needs to get a couple more infantry units around, and BMP2 in the south likely gonna get killed there. Scimitar now fighting against the stunned BMP2, likely gonna get the shots out before it gets it killed, so that's nice pickoffs. Conquerors in the north goes down, Plymia might go down there as well. Those are the kills that you need right now as Shellbreaker to have a fighting chance remaining in this game, but it's still looking a bit dicey, especially as he moves a bit aggressively in the center and immediately gets punished again.
Yep, at least the last Conqueror was strafed down by the F-16 now, so as long as Stahlbrecher is paying attention, the attack can completely proceed on Foxtrot, and the tanks of Scoof are not really in position to actually counter this immediately. Now Su-25 is getting sent out there with only a single Gepard left to defend. Yeah, the kills are not going that well, but there are still heroic actions that could work out. TOW 2s and Milan 2s on defense can easily penetrate the T-70, T-80s even.
Yeah, and A109 moving around as Mech Fusiliers trying to hold the line. Artillery not hitting anything. We have a CV moving north. Iltis PC coming up. Milan 1 in the middle only finds a frontal shot against the TADBV. That's not gonna achieve much. And the infantry of Stahlbrecher in the center all has nearly disappeared. Only 1 Mech Fusilier is remaining. The Milan 1 not gonna achieve much. The Gepard goes down to the SU-25. Yeah, this is not looking sexy for Stahlbrecher right now. We likely gonna see a game number 5 in this series, as the SU-25 did do the damage this time around, and Stahl about to get up a bit in the tick again, but Bravo should fall relatively soon, and it's currently only blue units on the kill feed. SU-25 going for the kill against the Leo 185. Gepard goes down here once more. F-16 cluster doesn't have any air-to-air missiles, get pushed by the coup. Yeah, Skiff has the combined arms that he didn't get around to last game this time around, and this is looking pretty dicey. Humvee TOW 2 not getting a kill against the TADB in the north, as the only BMP2 gets shut down. Next SU-25 comes around, no AA around this time around, so it likely just gonna get an absolute plethora of kills here. Gets a good hit against Humvee TOW. TADB not really faced by the law. A3 at least at the Fusiliers have, but frontal hits not doing much there. And now we just need to wait 5 or so minutes until Coop has pushed all the units in, and then we're likely gonna see a game number 5 here as Stahlbrecher really running out of steam here.
Yeah, I mean, the 16th Belgian pick on this map, doesn't have an Eyehawk, doesn't have a modern tank, doesn't have infantry that could hold against any kind of tank pressure in Alpha or Bravo. A lot of Black Forest weaknesses, I would say. Doesn't have M110s, which are of course the better artillery to M109s, and no matter how many tanks they will put out in one, they will points wise. You can send 5 Leopard 1s against 2 T80s on long ranges, and the T80s are gonna, for the same price, the T80s are gonna win.
Yeah, M109 here now, aiming towards the center. BRDM, U to U, getting in there, and soon likely gonna stop the take here. AFB 25 coming around, and I think the 16th is absolutely viable on this map as well, but obviously, like, you usually have to play it wider and try to hit a heavier division like 79th at as many places as you can. The gamble here was that the enemy gets hit at a spot where they don't have any defenses, but Goof did read through it, did realize what was happening once the Fusiliers showed up, and just got all the units into position, and then the Alpha push just completely failed, and then it doesn't really matter what division you play, like even with another division, if that push fails, you are in in a dire position to try to hold on, and the Fusiliers here just gonna get mowed down. Stadtbrecher likely gonna tap out soon here because his units just don't have a fighting chance anymore. There is a absolute juggernaut on the battlefield here with 79 that also got buffed a bit back here lately with the TO55s, with the ADBV buffs, and that is just in pure efficiency mode now, having the heavy combined arms out. Once too many TADBVs with BMP2s and a couple of AA pieces come out onto the battlefield, your layer 1A5 is just not going to do it frontally anymore, and he's just going to get run over.
You forgot the SU-24 buff as well.
Yeah, but that's not even playing a role here, but the units that we see here playing a role.
It is like the rule of the perfect counter division being the division that can do all of your stuff, but it's like 1 degree heavier, and it's just the opposite of when it comes to like the Leopard 1 counter pick against the T80 division. Like on urban front lines, what is this? Like I just don't see. And on this map, where games reliably are always so slow, I just figured maybe Stahl thought that this was the audacity was a big enough counter to not having a division that can fight the 80s reliably or attack against the 80s.
Yeah, he did pull apart a lot the heavier division last game, and I think the goal was the same thing. You can do similar things on this map, but you need to have an opening. He got it last game around. This time around, just didn't got there because the enemy units were in the right spot at the right time, and then it just looks abysmal because when you don't get a flank, hitting T80s frontally just never works. But if you get the opening and you get 1 kill on the T80 with your layer 2 1A5s that just surround it, then the enemy starts falling apart quite rapidly as well. But it was a gamble. The gamble doesn't work, and then the game looks like this. And S24 here just adding insult to injury and making the situation here even worse. +2 now for the red side, catching up quite quickly, and the blue side here is still throwing stuff in, but it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, the attack into Alpha was a mistake in that it is a suboptimal strategy, as Claude pointed out at the beginning. Yeah. But if you exactly, that is the interest by it. Like, if the enemy doesn't sniff it out, if the enemy just realizes it a bit too late what actually is happening, and you get a foothold, then that can be devastating. But that foothold just was never close to occurring, and Stadtbrecher should have realized that a lot earlier and spread out, but instead he did double down on it, and that was the mistake here. Like, the gamble can go leave you behind and still in the game, but he doubled down on the gamble and just killed himself with that move, basically. And even with him repositioning his layer 1 5s, his position would have been bad. because he would have been out on a bad part of the map with his units. But then the push towards Foxtrot could have maybe caught the attention of the enemy. He could have moved his Leo 185 somewhere else and tried to get some kills. Instead, when the Leo 185s on the south died, he lost all power of achieving any good trades and needed to get points and needed to get the enemy to overextend. But Scoof is too good to overextend like this, and with that, we have the +1 here currently slowly turning up. Starbreaker getting a couple of good kills here right now, but nothing really that's gonna change the game. You need to get so much done here. Like 3-4 T80 kills without losing much at all at your side to really get anywhere close of being back in this here. And that's just not gonna happen on this level of play.
Yeah, we're saying this, and somehow Stahl is gonna win this by 1 point. But the alpha push, like what I like to do with the alpha push is that first of all, you always need a bomber. You always need a bomber to kill the first enemies that are going to like face your stuff when you go in there. And second of all, you want to attack both of the entrance roads at the same time. If you just go through one of them, then you immediately walk up and block the enemy reinforcement road. And that way you can force the enemy to unload their troops outside of the town. And that's when like the fun really starts, because that's when you can just safely start ferrying units in and exploiting all of these angles, and send vehicles everywhere, just force the enemy to play around this area that is like their territory. They can reinforce faster than you there. But if you have these like eastern lines or the sides of the town, there are so many ATGM positions, and if you can get the enemy to stay outside the town, just scare them with some quick infantry action, a heli drop or something, it can be it's a really fun strategy to take. I think it's one of the only strategies to like quickly close down Black Forest matches, which is why I do it. 101st is especially great at this, because you can just get like two ODAs and the enemy at two ODAs and so much air support that the enemy can bomb them.
Yeah, we have the T80 IZDs now moving in to try to get the finishing blows up here as the zone gets back under control of Scoof again, and he has so much support here now for this Acacia artillery coming around, hitting the Iltis position immediately. A good amount of infantry, Iglas to shoot down the A109s, and there are a couple of Leo 185s, there are a couple of AFVs still moving around. 2 artillery pieces have arrived here for Stahlbrecher as well, so Stahl is fighting back, Stahl is trying to keep this alive. It's obviously a best of 3 in a semifinal of the league. There are a couple $100 on the line in this series, so you don't want to give up too early. But it's not looking great here. +1 is kept alive. Conquer's positions here pretty good. AFVs running into them. More BMP2s coming up. And yeah, once you have a defensive position set up with a Soviet division, just standing in BMP2s usually locks it down quite well for the rest of the game. And we are looking pretty close to that, as the T80BV IZD gets a great engagement against the Leo 185. That one needs to disengage. Will get out of line of sight there in time, but the BRDM Conquerors might get it here as well. Good retreatment path there. Keeps it alive for now for Stahlbrecher, but the T80BV IZD pushed forward, found a better line of sight, got the shot, got the kill, and nothing there really to punish it. Artillery hits the T80BV BVK there, but not finding a kill either. And with other divisions, you would have to worry about Apilas or so jumping into your face and potentially killing your your T80BVs. But against the Belgians, you just can push close to any building and kill them off. The Belgians need their combined arms more than most other divisions, but they have also one of the most efficient and cheapest combined arms compared to other divisions. So that's the trade-off that you get with them. And yeah, it's not looking hot here right now for Stahl, as the +1 is back on, and it's soon to be a +2 here. The Iltis Führung is still being besieged. T80BV IZD Ooh, gets nearly gunned down there by the Leo 185s. They only find the BTR 60 in the end. M109s here, really doing their best to try to get as much damage done as possible. Good hits there. 80 BVK in got seen by the Eclairs, so good hits there. CV tank actually might go down. There we
Ooh.
go. Stoutback here doing it again with artillery. Just the question is, what does he do when the next SU-24 shows up? And chances are he's not going to do anything.
Yeah, we're gonna have a swarm of AIM-9Ps that are gonna destroy every single airplane in the 79th Arsenal.
And the Iltis goes down, A109 goes down. So trades here still not great for the blue team. A109, pretty important there to help out against any breakthroughs of the enemy. Those TOW2s on a quick helicopter can go a long way. Leo 185, 1BEs here, failing to hit the BMP2. P2 smoking off. UCV has arrived in the form of a BRDM. And that one about to get the point lead here over the edge. Has only a couple of seconds here until Stahl will fall behind at the points. And that might be the time to throw in the towel and get ready for Isura map. As, yeah, just don't see how Belgians can come back here. They usually need to use their momentum, and momentum is far in the negative here right now.
Yeah, the Belgians need to fight themselves an opponent that really cannot fight the Leopard ones toe to toe, or even if they cannot fight against the forward deployment aggression followed up by the by the bombers. You know, there are stuff to do here, and it's just 79th that none of them really work against 79th. Even like the Spetsnaz grew, where the counter to the Fusiliers, like if there had not been Spetsnaz crew, if the Fusiliers had driven just a little bit further in instead of jumping out of the cars outside of the town, getting in there, you know, which they could do if the enemy didn't have airborne deployment, if they had just taken standard Rasvedka, all of this stuff, and none of it works against 79.
And M109's here, trying to get some hits around, and trying to hit the Motostrelkis. Humvee CP getting shut down there. +2 about to come back. The artillery work here of Stadtbrecher once more really diligent, really good. Really makes me optimistic for his gameplay with the London defense formation as well, because they have fantastic artillery pieces as well. With an autoloader 155mm artillery piece just pulled out of the test bed and pushed to the front to defend the Queen and country. And A109's here coming around, but they will have to get so many salvos in a row here. And Leo 1BE just goes down there. Salva here is still throwing more stuff at the front line, but against divisions where the enemy maybe only has 1 or 2 cards of high quality tanks, that might work. That if you get a couple of good kills there, your Leo 1s might come back into the game and start rolling again. But 79th has a deep pocket for both IFVs and AD heavy tanks. So you're not just gonna let them run out of their stuff that can stop your Leo 1s until the 40-minute mark. And we only have 13 minutes remaining. We have the +2 online. More than 200 points of separation at this point. No flanking attack that really threatens Echo or anything like this. So Stahl is just fishing for small things here right now. Cluster Bomber coming in, Tunguskas and Coops all around. So doesn't even get the kill, loses the Bomber. Doesn't want to give up here, wants to keep grinding, but the grind just not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's there's an infantry leader coming in for the for Bravo to cut off this for a moment, but the infantry leader against an enemy who has twin Acacias, and where the leader can pretty easily be triangulated. The zone is predictable enough. It's Yeah, now with the clusters really only getting challenged by Gepards on long ranges, the high altitude bomber buff is indirectly a short range anti-air debuff, because way more high altitude bombers are going to be used now, as they are not completely useless. This means that the divisions such as the Belgians, who rely on short range anti-air defenses, are going to be in trouble when it comes to, like, not your F-111s, but Su-24s, and what are the others? Other even others.
Tornadoes.
So few high altitude bombers are played. I don't even remember them.
S220s, Tornadoes,
Yes,
the
yes,
MiG-23 high altitude bombers. There are a good couple of them that are really good now. And not to forget about Hasta La Vista's Mirage bombers that finally are
yeah.
back in business as well with Berlin Command. They are beautiful. Like their reload time is still an absolute pain, but oh my god, are they beautiful when you use them now? Yeah, Berlin Command in general, it might be back in business outside of Pasta La Vista's hands as well. And I'm not want to face Pasta with that division at the moment because they got a lot of buffs lately. All their tanks basically got a buff of 10 to 5 to 10 points, and the Mirage buff really helped them out as well.
Yep. So much mech. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 TATs, 2 Su-25s in the sky, so many BMP2s, just everything is in here. And
Yeah,
I mean, like, Scoof is playing this carefully. Scoof doesn't want to overextend, and I'm sure Scoof kind of still understands, especially the way he played the first game, that if the more expensive division just sacrifices a few key units, without the T80s, a number of leopards could go out there and just, like, bang, 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 fight off the soft targets, and then suddenly the game situation could be different, and there only be like 7 minutes left. So we're just getting this slow grind, no useless risks, no reason to actually do any big pushing. And a few Motostrelki go out there, they meet the enemy, artillery keeps on doing damage, and after the Motostrelki spot the enemy, now we see a limited mechanized force going and engaging the enemy. And then if you take any damage, you run back, you buy a new Motostrelki, and you do it again.
yeah. By the way, we just saw A109 shut down the pretty lovely Augusta helicopter, and I'm can't wait for the Italians using a lot of those kind of helicopters. The Augusta family of helicopters in general all look pretty amazing in my eyes. But also, we're gonna see them likely with the London Defense Forces, and that one actually has a gun pod or two gun pods on it, and it is special forces. And I have tested it when the division came out, and it wins 1v1 fights against Mi-24s. And I have, in 3 games in a row, shut down enemy Mi-24 or Mi-24K helicopters with those gunship helicopters, the gunship Augustas of London. It's an amazing little helicopter, so I'm looking forward to see how Stahlbrecher is going to use those. They come in with a sniper squadron and can deploy that quite aggressively because they have recon deployment with those as well, so really, really cool unit, and I'm so excited for game number 5 here. Like, this currently is just fizzling out. It is an interesting plan of Stahlbrecher to just play this out till the end here as well. Just maybe thinking that he has the longer pref stamina-wise. That's an important part in the best of 5. Like, can you just sit through these games and chew through? Maybe he also is planning the next move again. Like, the timing of when you tap out in a tournament series is a really important part of your game strategy as well. Like, there are players who know that they want to get through it quickly, and that if they fall behind, they just don't want to get bogged down in the feeling of losing, so they just tap out and get into the next one. And then there are players who just try to make it as annoying for the enemy as possible to get their win and try to grind it out. And Stahl usually is in the middle ground, but in this one he really stuck with it for a long time. In the end, nearly a 2-1 KD here for Scoof. Like, this game was never close, but Stahl really making it long and getting us ready here for the final match in this best of 5, as we gonna move down to Bavaria, onto the Danube River, where it meets the Isar, aka in Latin the Isura River, and where we will have 7th Panzer meeting the London home defenses, being lost somewhere in the Bavarian area um, east of Regensburg, and that is going to be a pretty epic battle. I'm so excited for game number 5 here.
Yeah, it's going to be the first time that I'm going to see the London division actually in game. So I'm quite happy about this. I haven't bought the DLC yet because the Finnish economy is not doing great, and also I got caught traveling without a ticket, so that's a little bit of a fine for me. But but yeah, you earlier on you talked about how you believe that it's actually possible with the recent changes and slight buffs that the Chieftain Centurion centered tank tab could actually fight off 7th Panzer's T-72 tab. And the 7th Panzer's T-72 tab is the lowest tech T-72 tab, doesn't have the modernized variants, and the mildly modernized variants come out in limited numbers. But what is the London division's like early game? They of course they get a lot of like robust infantry. They get some pretty decent ATGMs as well, and with their air tab, they'll be able to fight off the fighter bombers most likely that are going to come with the 7th Panzer
So,
deal.
there are 2 ways to open this deck. Or 3 ways. There is the mechanized flop around some Centurions. There is the recon flop with a lot of Foxes, including the Fox with the extra ground surveillance radar installed, so that you can get a really good recon Fox flop running around. And then there is the air spam, with Canberra bombers being pretty cheap and good high altitude bombers added to this as well. They have 10 hit points. They have 0% ECM, but they are pretty affordable for amazing bomb load. And you can use them with the E-Warfare as well. You have the Hawk rocket plane, which can run down enemy recon quite nicely, and 40% ECM cluster and HE Harriers, which are just devastating. The Harrier GR5 is a fantastic bomber. So the air spam of this division is super scary. And then you can also just play it a bit slow and take good infantry fights with your guards, which are some of the most solid infantry in the game. 9 hit points, 2 MGs, and Carl Gustav variant, or a more infantry focused one with a decent law. And then the one SASG usually mixed in to just dominate infantry fights, because those are one of the best CQC infantry units in the game. They have a terrible AT weapon, but they have smoke, they have MP5s. If you get them into range, they're just gonna murder things. So this is kind of the plan. And if it goes long, you have a fantastic artillery piece with the AS-90. So that could be a plan as well, once more for Stahl, who has used the artillery quite nicely before. And yeah, I'm pretty excited here.
Yeah, and on Isura, do you think that the infantry fights are gonna be enough here? We will be able to talk about this in just a second when they open up the game, but yeah, I'm just I don't know, having not played or seen the London division, I really I'm having hard time analyzing it so far, but yeah, I'm kind of just I don't know who to pick here.
Yeah, on the other side, Spezialaufklärers can get you pretty nicely in there. You have the coops to lock down the air quite nicely as well. And you have the better helicopter tab with the 7th as well. Your air tab doesn't have great fighters, but with the coops and a lot of SUs, you can do an overrun of the ground quite well as well. The issue of not having BMP2s is pretty annoying for 7th. Like, you have only BMP1s, which aren't really great in this matchup because they don't trade well into the pretty well armored. Like the Malyutkas are great against Leo 1s and against IFVs. They are pretty terrible against all the 10 and to 12 frontal armor British tanks. Like you don't even two-shot them. You need 3 or 4 hits against them to actually kill them, and that's just not great. So PvP1s are pretty bad in this matchup as well. So I actually like the London one here quite a bit. It was a blind pick once more for everybody who is new to the season and how to pick a band tool, especially in the playoff works. So the final pick, like every other pick before, one side picked first and the other got the counter pick. In this one, they both picked the hidden division and then it got revealed. So nobody got the counter pick here. They just picked for the map and the potential division that they imagined the other side to pick. So I think in the end here, a bit of a wiser choice. I like the London division a bit more, but 7th is a really robust one as well. So if Scoof micros it well, if the T-72's gang gets assembled, that one is still going to be tough to stop for the other side. And yeah, I'm pretty excited for this one.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like it's gonna depend on the terrain of Isura because from what it seems like here, if the T-72 blob actually gets activated and with 7th it does do so earlier than other T-72 divisions. I mean, it used to be the only T-72 division back in the day where the idea, the concept of the T-72 blob was created. Our understanding of it is basically was that you get the tanks out there in numbers and then you keep sending them and keep forcing fights in which you have the superior numbers, where your lower rate of fire and lower damage and lower armor wouldn't necessarily matter as much. And then when you face down something more dangerous, you can just send in your planes to deal with it. And I think that's especially this being a blind pick. I think it's like pretty smart from Scoof. If Scoof feels like that is something that works well on Isura, that he can actually like manage to go through with this. But of course, all T-72s are allergic to most missiles, and the missiles in the London division seem to be just good enough for this.
Yeah, you get Milan 1s and Milan 2s in the infantry tab as well. No extra vehicles in that tab with ATGMs, but you get a really cool Swingfire Fox as well. Or Ferret, rather. A little Ferret with Swingfire missiles, which can move around quite quickly as well. Plus your normal rovers and your normal Swingfire units. And yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. And whoever wins here gets a good bit more money thanks to your support. And thank you to all of you, as we just reached 0 claim codes to be claimed. We might get another bunch for the finals, and we will see if we get around there. Startbreaker is playing the HDR. So yeah, if you want to contribute directly, you still can do so, and you can help out here via the link. Plus, if you want to help out the channel and me directly, helping out with YouTube channel memberships or Twitch subscriptions goes a long way as well. If you want to see more of this content, the support in the chat obviously goes a long way, but financial support really, really helps out as well to justify to myself all the time that I invest into this and getting a bit more work cut out of my actual work so that I, or time cut out of my actual work day so that I can put that into all of this lovely stuff. So yeah, let's see how we get around here. Session is started. We are in the game. Let's get into the final one of the day, the final one of the semifinals. Who will face Mix 90 in the grand final? Startbreaker or Scoof? Game number 5 on Isura is loading in, and HDR here, the London Defense Forces, are setting up on the left side, but we have Scoof coming in on the right with pretty interesting 7th Panzer pick here as well.
Yeah, I mean those. They of course they found out about each other's divisions in the lobby there, so we could expect the divisions to be tailored around or the decks to be tailored around the enemy division. But yeah, here on Isural, if you use the C key and oh wait, you can't actually do that because the buildings haven't spawned in yet. But yeah, I think there is a lot of safe ground here for the T-72s to just stay in relatively good hiding and keep firing at enemies in buildings. Like if the East German infantry, which here is weaker than the British infantry, but they're still competitive, I think. If T-72s can maneuver in a way to prevent the British from building up like numbers of fire support, the biggest issues are going to be if the British get any kind of tank supremacy. I think it's over for the 7th Panzer pretty quickly. The 7th Panzer also requires, with the enemy having Carl Gustavs, no low 80s there, I believe, which would be just devastating. But even the Carl Gustav units are good enough to act as a deterrent, so that the T-80s can't really afford to keep moving and pushing too aggressively around these center town fight areas. The SASG are probably going to do some kind of an attack. I would probably say in or around Foxtrot. And then if you look northeast or east of the point of Foxtrot, there is a tree line. And there are also some buildings which can hold a Spezial Aufklärer unit. So if the enemy just waltzes in and gets a bunch of infantry, the T-72s can transition into free kill time.
Yeah, as so, we have the first little rover CP now arriving on the battlefield, and Stahl with the HDR here will really be the one that has to set up the engagement, because 7th Panzer is going to be the standard here. Like, there is not much special things that you have to do. It has a really solid combined arms that can come in from the get-go, has forward deploy recon, has good medium tanks, and it will just push towards the Delta Echo Foxtrot area with that mech club. And you have a decent mech club as well, but it's a bit more specialized as HDR. You only have one card of heavy tanks, then you have a couple of medium tanks, and then you have a lot of light tanks. And yeah, here we go. Those are the gunships that I was talking about in the last game. These A109s, they eat up enemy helicopters. Those little 12.7mm MGs, they shred, because this is special forces. It has extra accuracy. They win 1v1 fights against enemy Mi-24s, and they also kill off enemy recon infantry quite nicely. So the Spezialaufklärer on the other side might be in danger, and double SASG here is a really ballsy move. I'm not sure I'm a big fan of this, but if you can get enough decent infantry AT around it, it still can work out. One of the issues of this division, you don't get low 80s in it. You get Carl Gustavs, decent AT, but not the high level AT weapon of the low 80 that you get in the other UK divisions.
Yeah, we're seeing the Ferret Swingfire is getting an interesting deployment into this tree line from which it can move, and if any recon spots anything, the Ferret can move up the tree line and go get a kill and then retreat. I think that's an interesting little corner. There's Rover Yeoman. One of my favorite words, actually, Yeoman. The twin machine gun.
Yeah, unfortunately, having the wrong machine gun being a vehicle, it does have the infantry mech and not the vehicle mech. So
That's true, actually. Wow.
it has 1850 meter range on them instead of the 1200 meter range that it usually should have, being a vehicle AMG. So the Rover Human has smoke, which is really unique for a unit like it, but will need a fix to those actually having decent range. Then it will be a good tool. Currently, it is rather mediocre. The smoke is nice, but usually not all that impactful because it dies before it gets anywhere.
Yeah, and we're seeing a 3 chieftain opener, all of them up-vetted, and one of them being the 1-4 variant, and 2 of them being 1-4 variants, one of them being a Mark 9 variant. 1-4 variants actually have a 50 cal machine gun.
Yeah.
Wait, did the British run the 50? Well, I guess they did, just never in with vehicles.
Yeah, this is one of the really old chieftains, and they still had those installed there. Next coaxial, as you can see, so it's a pretty good MG there that has the high accuracy of a coaxial 50 cal, similar to the AMX-30. So this is actually a really dangerous 50 cal on these. So the one force I think are highly underpriced currently, like 80 points. This thing is on a similarly cooked level as T55s were. You just don't get that many. You only get one card. But that one card is really strong. The Chieftain Mark 1/4 is one of the best tanks currently in the game. In my eyes, it doesn't have the greatest accuracy on the main gun, but it has great AG power. It has 12 hit points. It has smoke over the T55, and 80 points is just really, really cheap for what it can do.
Yeah, it's well, looking at the Scoof deployment here, we have I would describe this as very standard armored division gameplay, which is the Spezialaufklärer go out there, not trying to push into enemy territory, but trying to create a fighting line in between the territories, with a significant number of weapons teams, concursors, and grenade machine guns, as well as some BTR-70s to act as extra fire support when the enemy eventually attacks with their better infantry. The Motoaufklärers are going to do just standard sign line guard duty, and yes, here we see the first tank. These are base model T-72s, 130 points, 15 armor, no smoke launcher, which is massive, huge, big problem with them, honestly. Like, no smoke launcher in a main battle tank makes it so much less usable in practice, especially when you have like ferret swing fires and stuff.
Yeah, the low range on it also being an issue, but against the Chieftain one force, it should trade pretty well. They only have 16 penetration, so they only barely scratch it, but their 12 frontal armor gets penetrated nicely. You don't kill them off quickly, and they have smoke, so they can disengage, but they usually shouldn't be able to kill you easily. So the T-72, I think, can buy good time on a defensive position. You just shouldn't use them too much offensively. Like, the T-72, the baseline one, is just a really fantastic defensive tool that should never be used more than 100 meters away from a forest, because that is basically their replacement for smoke, because that's the way to break line of sight with them. And I'm really interested to see what we see air-wise on both sides. I feel like both sides will need fighters from the get-go, and it's going to be interesting to see if we see them and which ones we see. There is an F4 variant with a gun, but that's the difference between their variant and the second UK variant. For the London one, they outside of that have 4 mid-range missiles and 4 sidewinders. And on the other side, MiG-21 AA coming in, and that's a great helicopter hunter. But, oh, we see the Hawks! We see the Hawks! Ooh, I love it! The memes are real! Hawk plus 2 tornadoes, that is a strategy that I think is really cool. And yeah, the Hawks here should win the fight against the MiG-21. They have great sidewinders. They are terrible little planes, because they're super slow, 0 ECM, 6 hit point planes, but 2 of them with good sidewinders can kill helicopters, can kill fighters. MiG-23 and MiG-21 both go down. Hawks survive, A109s go through, Chinooks with SASGs go through as well. Big W for Starbreaker's opener, and Goof already on the back foot.
Yeah. Now, the rocket helicopters standing around here in the midst of Spezialaufklärer and weapons team targets, with the closest anti-air weapon being the Shilka, which is out there trying to defend the T-72. And now second MiG-21 is going out there.
SPW gets shut down into pieces by the A109. Guard Sniper not out there, so it has to be careful. Tornado number 2 is out though for the MiG-21. Both sides being pushed back, but the Tornado gets it on the way out. And the A109 here will get fire onto some Spezialaufklärers here still. Will likely soon be pushed back here by the Shilka, or killed off more likely. Swingfire here getting involved as well. As the Yeomen move around. The Chinooks are the ones with the minigun, but you usually want to sell them quite quickly. They're 60 points worth of units, so air fight here going fantastic for Stahlberg here. That is scary for the ground forces of the other side as well, because we talked about great bombers that you can bring around there too. T-72S gets hit well by the Chieftain Mark 9. The Chieftain Mark 9 has 19 pen, so it's a lot scarier for the T-72. And the Chieftain Mark 1 /4 here keep up pushing forward as well. Really good trade so far by Stahlberg here. The helicopter losses are annoying, but they are not the end of the world. And he has the pressure going. His tanks here pushing back the T-72, meaning that they can buy a bit more place. S-222 cluster this time coming around. Might get a double kill here. Then the Chieftain Mark 9 has to get the hell out of it, a dodge, because it can't fight this 1v1. Swingfire has a line of sight. T-72S under fire there. Swingfire will get another shot, but is spotted, gets killed by the T-72. Hawk rocket coming around here. Doesn't want to fly around the Shilka. The first Hawk gets pushed back. Both T-72 and Chieftain heavily damaged. Chieftain has to smoke off, has to disengage. Big cluster bombing run there. Swingfire losses big. SASG, yeah, just left out in the aether to die as well. And the other SAS here pretty low too, so that is pretty dangerous. Centurion Mark 13 coming around. Even it has good rate of fire, so it's better against vehicles than the Chieftain Mark 1, but it is way worse against infantry because it doesn't have the blade gun, and when it gets hit, because it is reservist, it gets gunned down quite quickly as well. So that might be a problem there. The Lynx under attack by the MiG-21 does get shut down, doesn't get out of dodge, and +1 here currently for Stahlbrecher, but situation on the front did this really get a lot worse here. Has to try to disengage with the SAS, has to try to keep them alive for supply to arrive, but Carl Gustav guards there being gunned down as the SPWs here giving good fire support together with the 30mm. Stahl in trouble now.
Yeah, this is Stahl is basically surrounded with surrounded by concaved by a front line of grenade machine guns, some SPWs, and a single tank that he has not managed to kill, and a single Shilka that's really been paying off quite well here. Now with the first coup coming out, that's a massive hit. Like the Hawks have already been, and the potential Harriers also have become the prey now, with coups being able to one-shot them if it hits. And with the map design here, the coups can be really close to the front line while being safe, meaning that they get to fire at the enemy before they have dropped their payloads. And with the Spezialaufklärer, 3 out of 3 Spezialaufklärer still surviving.
Robust CV goes down. Yeah, and the SASGs on the other side, they were a big misinvestment. I believe they were what stopped Stahl from pushing deeper. The double SASG opener was a big mistake. I liked the A109s. They usually get by you enough ground that your guards and your chieftains can roll up behind it, especially if you win the airfight like he did. But yeah, the Yeoman here and the Terrier Scouts holding the flank, but the SASGs did basically nothing, and they're a big investment. They're 150-point investment with the helicopters. If you sell the helicopters, they're still 90 points. You have a good artillery piece here out again for Stahl. Stahl is going to try to do it that way, and he has air control this time around with his tornadoes, so he can play this defensively, and similar to how he did it on Mount River, and that can absolutely work. But he needs to get into decent defensive position here. First salvo already gets a kill.
Yeah, the like the problem here for Stahl is that Stahl really doesn't seem to have any actual path towards attacking. Like the damage being done by the air forces is nice, and the helicopters can act as a moving deterrent and and destroy singular enemy squads every once in a while. But this wide front line, supported by this Spezialaufklärer's superior spotting capacity, it's just too much to deal with without any strong key units. Like the chieftains here, okay, well they're nice. The chieftains, they do a lot of fire support. The centurions, they're pretty good for fire support. The centurions even have a faster rate of fire than the chieftains, and also 2 machine guns. And for 65 points, and they also get a smoke, which gives them a little bit of survivability. But it, without the ability to actually push out this fire support, without a core front line from behind which to sit, the enemy is going to be able to decide where the fighting happens. And right now, the fighting's happening in a place where none of the tanks can really get in. Now, artillery is already firing the AS-90 like prototype howitzer coming down here and trying to destroy one of the flanking concourses, and manages to destroy it. But there are going to be more concourses. Immediately, another one with an SPW-70 getting brought out here.
Yeah, and second AS-90 already out as well, aiming for the coup. Coup does realize that it might need to move, and the issue is right now the lack of infantry numbers. Because of the high investment into an SASG, you can get 2 normal guards without the Calgusta for the price of 1 SASG, and even more when you take the transport prices into account. So
Yeah, 3 actually.
SASG here have to disengage. SPW-70s at least get shut down. The Chieftain Mark 9 here doing a decent job, has to disengage away from the T-72. Milan 2 coming around, but the 30mm grenade launchers here, those have done a lot of extra work on the other side, winning those infantry on infantry actions. The AS-90s might help out big time on the other side though. We have the first Acacia 152mm, pretty good artillery as well. Not as good as the AS-90 because that one has a rate of fire of 5 versus the rate of fire of 3 here on the other side. And the AS-90 here even has a better aim time. Like, it's a fantastic little artillery piece. So Pioneers here getting hit, getting shut down. But on the other side, the guard units did fall as well. Centurion trying to get a good hit here against the T-55 and T-72 pushing in the north. Chieftain trying to help out. T-72M now on the front line though, and that's the escalation that you want as Scoof. That's where the Chieftains start to fall apart. That's where the enemy needs to get better units, get the Challenger possibly on board. And that is not here. So the T-55, T-72 push that is currently pushing onto Stahlbecher is going to be tough to push because he did the double investment into the artillery, so he is currently a bit behind on the front line, and he is wasting tornadoes, and he can't afford wasting tornadoes. The Canberra cluster bomber here now coming in. Will the artillery immediately aim onto the enemy AA? No, it won't. The cluster bomber gets dropped, and it devastates the ground. Gets a Shilka, gets a Concourse, gets a 72. That's a worthwhile trade, but yeah, that's 175 points trading up against 250 points, or even a bit more than that. So, good trade there for the Canberra per se. Still, not worth it if you calculate the Tornado in there as well. That Tornado really going in a bit too deep. 155mm artillery pieces though, finding a bit more value here once more. Ah, the Hawk gets shut down as well. AS-90s here just really going into town though.
Yeah, it's the just this lack of a solid fighting line here, with the Chieftains repeatedly underperforming, and the Ferrets and like the Swing Fires and the Milan 2s just not being in position to participate correctly. The Spezialaufklärer are now moving into an incredible spotting position right next to the Swing Fire, and then being recon units, they do get their extra stealth, exceptional stealth. So they can just sit there, turn their weapons off, and provide perfect recon coverage for Scoof. And the rocket planes, yeah, the rocket plane didn't even get close to firing a shot. Immediately, the coup has made them obsolete. The SASG's last guys now standing in there in the middle, trying to hold some kind of a spotting capacity so the tanks can do their fire support. The tanks are not too far away to not reuse their the machine guns, but really even then it's they are not good enough on on their own. Now two guards with another SAS squad coming in here.
Yeah, another SAS squad trying to fly in. The flies too close to the sun. Or the Shilka in this case. And no! Losing SASG and transport, this is just devastating. It's the last remaining SASG as well. You only get 3 of them, so losing it like this is really rough. You still have the infantry advantage, and I think you could have just have played guards, especially as they come with 2 vet here for Startbreaker as well, and played it like that. But yeah, the SASG investments here, I think, were the biggest mistake. A couple more chieftains, a couple more guard infantry, I think would have gone a long way in these fights. And yeah, Coops here now being targeted by the AS-90s. They still do a decent job. Akatsi on the other side hasn't fired a shot yet, but the T-72s, they are tough to kill. You need swing fires, you need Milan 2s, or you need a Challenger. And the Challenger hasn't arrived yet. We have a big fleet of Centurions instead. And I'm worried for them. If they push close enough, they can do it potentially. They have a decent rate of fire. But yeah, they need to get close enough to actually deal damage. It's possible on this map. The guards here also doing a decent way of moving forward. CV, SPW under fire, but gets spotted, moves away. AS-90s here not finding the shots just yet. Scoof is doing a decent job here. Centurion smoking off. Swingfire runs into Spezialaufklärer. Spezialaufklärer using the AT weapon. Find the kill. And the +2 is ticking on here. This Centurion top needs to do something of value here. Otherwise, this game likely is just going to get bogged down in a +2 tick with a lot of T-72s and T-55s. Just keeping the entrances to any valuable position clean. And yeah, Spezialaufklärer and Coop now under fire by the AS-90. AS-90 with good shots here, finding Spezialaufklärer, likely gonna find the Coop as well. But they need to find so much more. Rover just barely makes it in.
Oh.
T-72s here engaging the guards, Modschützen, BTRs under fire by the Chieftains, Centurions, and Chieftain Mark 9s here. Really a lot of them around. Another bunch of Centurions, so Stahl really sends the meme waves out there. But the issue is, the Modschützen on the other side, they're gonna do good damage against you as well, so you have to actually use them in tank country and at the same time get close enough to the T-72s. That's a pretty tough balance to get right, and I'm wondering if that can be achieved here. Conquers from the north engaging, but the AS-90s can find those, and you have smokes on the Centurions, so that's one of the great parts about them. 65-point tank with smoke is pretty unique. Chieftain Mark 9 here engaging against the T-72, but yeah, it's gonna be tough to find the hits. T-55 ace now just annihilating a guard. Artillery getting some decent hits, but Centurion goes down. Chieftain Mark 9 gets pushed back. Another one moving around. Tick is stopped. AS-90 is trying to get its best job done against the enemy artillery. Hawk moving around, but MiG-29 on the other side doing its job. Both Hawk rockets getting gunned down. Hawks with the radar coming in. T-55 goes down. The AS-90 doesn't get more damage though. Rover goes down, and currently a lot of blue kills without much value generated here outside of the artillery. And the artillery is under fire! Oh! AS-90! Oh, it goes down! And this is likely gonna be a nail in the coffin here, as those AS-90s were the only really efficient thing here on the battlefield right now, and they are now cut in half. The other one heavily stressed out as well. Startbecher being caught by Scoof here, and Chieftain Mark 9's now next target. Important kill here by Scoof. Startbecher getting a bit too bugged down in the micro. Also hasn't seen any artillery from the other side, so maybe just got a bit too complacent there as well. didn't move his AS90s after each salvo and got punished big time there by Scoof, and this is starting to look really tough. Now the Centurions need to work even more, and they just haven't done anything so far.
Yeah, I was predicting that Stahl would play in the more wider style and just exploit the fact that the T-72s are like not capable of dealing with wide front lines of ATGMs, but instead, like the losing the control over the center area has basically pushed Dahlbrecher into the attacker's position against an enemy who gets to defend with this massive wide front line, and I really don't see a way out of this for Stahl. Like I think you're correct. The SAS Gs were just a complete boondoggle. They were too expensive. The helicopters were not sold when they should have. They were not giving any kind of actual momentum in that moment. Now, Coop does get taken out, but only after most of the planes have also kind of been taken out. And yeah, we kind of found out on Isura, a lot of these games, the player who plays standard and just gets the numbers on the board tends to win. With these zones being so close to each other, it takes a lot out of an infantry attack to actually succeed. And most importantly, maybe, I think the infantry attack just needs to be immediately followed up by so much turtling. You need to turtle maxing, like every building needs to hold a Guards Milan 2. And yeah, we're seeing Air Mobile Terriers now, another 12-man squad coming in. But these may be able to get to the zone, but will they be able to survive the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tanks currently on board? Not all of them in the front line, though.
Yeah, Centurions here desperately trying to get some damage done, but they just don't have the fire support here right now. Artillery currently also not hitting all that well. SPW getting another tick online, and just T-72s are just a bit too hard to kill here in this matchup right now, because Stahlbrecher doesn't have the flanks. If you have the flanks here on this map, you can threaten T-72s quite nicely, but what we usually see on this map is whoever holds the northern building complex and the southern building complex wins, because they get that just ever so slight concave on this map and can dodge any side shots, whilst they can get a side shot from time to time. And when you get a side shot from time to time, that usually is a kill from time to time, that usually snowballs into more damage potential on the front line, that usually rolls into more kills, and that usually rolls into victory. And that's exactly what we have here right now, with Centurions out position time and again. Chieftain Mark 9s here coming back to the front line, but they will have a tough time achieving anything. Chieftain's going down. They got a T-55A with them this time, but without the AS-90 double fire salvo, which did achieve good damage from time to time here, it's just going to be really tough. SPW-40 goes down. We still have 20 minutes remaining. We still don't have a big point lead here for Scoof, and the KD on the battlefield is not completely terrible here for Stahlbrecher. So if he gets a couple of great kills and maybe can get 1 or 2 key positions out of the enemy's hands, there is potential here. Another Chieftain versus T-72 fight here in the south. T-72 just smokes off last second before another shot can come out. But yeah, couple of good kills here. Another T-72M has arrived already though, so the Chieftain here has to be really careful with that fight. Falling gets only a medium hit here on long range. Both sides can't quite one-shot each other. Damage is achieved, but now there comes the VPs. Okay, Chieftain trades 1-1. That's an okay trade. Not a great one though. Guards come in numbers here. The fighting power and the spam potential of the London division is still there. And as I said, the BMP-1 here, not the most impactful on this map, but the ATGM situation here for Stahlbrecher is actually pretty terrible. The Shilgas have been used to massive effect here in this game. The helicopters have been gunned down time and time again, and Stadtbrecher has brought them time and time again a bit too far forward, using another one here quite aggressively. Might just get gunned down by a Shilka again with the Vessex coming in with the airmobile Terriers. And yeah, all the couple of good trades that he just got just have fallen apart again, I think, here in the last couple of seconds. So in the end, the stalemate is going to stay here as the guards try to push forward, but SPW 70s can just shut that down if Centurions can't escort them, and the Centurions just can't do that right now.
Yeah, and the mass of infantry here is now walking once again into support weapon fire. SPW 70s, grenade machine guns, just a hard counter to infantry spam. And we are seeing like there are still Milan 2s out there, and as long as the challengers stay alive, there is a theoretical possibility of just being able to win enough fights for this to go well. But like the infantry spam defense in the middle here just kind of feels like feeding guards into the 7th Panzer machine.
Yeah, a lot of vehicles here out on both sides. T-72 is now rolling towards the Challenger. We have another Canberra HE cluster combination in the air. This is a fantastic bomber. We have seen it do good results so far. And it will come out here with another bombing run. Likely gonna pay for it with its life again. Is trying to get away to the side, but it has 0% ECM. And it is taking heavy damage here. And it is going to get shut down. MiG-21 goes down on the other side though. The Acacia artillery got counter-batteried efficiently by the AS-90. AS-90 on its own did get the kill. Challenger finding good hits here. T-55 goes down. T-72 heavily under pressure. Bonkers coming around. T-72 gets hit once more, but does survive. The Mark II not quite having the penetration to deal massive damage to the T-72s, but can bully them back quite nicely. Just the Conqueror's SPW here being the issue now, and that's where you would want to have your favorite string fires or so around, but those all have been gunned down. AS-90 here need to find some more value, but the guard push in the center, another big mistake here. Just all went down. We have Bloodhounds and Starstreaks pushing forward. Bloodhound can't engage the Mi-24D, but the Starstreak is pretty good against them. Has long range against helicopters, has good rate of fire, has good damage, so the Mi-24s have to run away from that. AS-90 aiming again for another coup position. As more reinforcements come in. The tick is not getting any bigger right now for Scoof, and that's the potential. Ooh, Bloodhound getting caught out on the front line. But that's the potential saving grace here that might give Stadtbrecher one more shot of making a good smoke push somewhere in the late game and getting enough points to fill the 200-point gap. Maybe getting a good Harrier bombing run through as well, as he is about to get the last coup on the battlefield. No, there is one more. 2 coups were remaining, and now it's down to 1. If he can find that, the Harrier with 40% ECM can do great damage as well, but the Shilkas here so far this game have been pretty efficient as well. And yeah, AS-90 repositioning, needs to fire again. Starstreaks need to dodge the artillery. Tornado in the sky. Lynx moving forward. Another Bloodhound coming around. Wow, all of those investments not really achieving much. The next Challenger coming around as well. And yeah, don't quite get why we didn't see a Challenger earlier. Like, 1 Challenger, 2 Chieftain Mark 9s, I think would have been a fantastic pushing ball. 1 Challenger and the Centurion blob maybe would have been great as well, but Centurions on their own just don't trade well in this. But the Challenger doesn't really deal the damage on its own, but it can tank for days. When we have the Harrier HE here out, 40% ECM, but only 8 hit points. Really, really big gamble against the enemy coups, because they have a pretty low chance to hit, but if they hit, they kill you. So let's see what they can achieve.
Yeah, importantly, an absolute buttload of bombs. 6 500-kilogram bombs is one of the biggest bomb loads you can have like in this game. And for this price, 215, surprisingly little. Like, the guns are not that relevant with the Harriers anyways. Might as well take them out when
Ooh, the last coup is under fire. Last coup gets hit. Is moving in the wrong direction. Is moving actually into the fire and goes down. Harriers are free to roam now. Well, not completely free. The Shulker still can kill them. But if they are quick in and out, they can now do the damage. They have 13 minutes. They better start now. Then they can maybe come around 2-3 times and do it again. And that could be a way to victory here now. This might be a path for Stahlbecher. The end of the cubes is a big swinging point potentially in this one. As we have more Harriers, more Gazelles coming in, but the Harriers, they just burn fuel right now, which means they will need longer in the reload. So they better get on to target here now. They now get moved. Both of them with an attack order coming in. One going for an infantry plop. At the same time, Gazelles, Guards, Swing Fires all going down, but they have a T-72 to target. They have some good Motschützen positions to target. First bombing run is through. First Harrier will go down though. Second one gets the kill. Will it get out alive? No, the Shilka fire is just too strong. Bombing runs were successful. Damage done. Mediocre. A lot of infantry was burned on the way there. Stahlbecher's position here still not looking hot.
Yeah, the challengers are in like all right positions, with the Guards Milan supporting the southern one, and the northern one working behind a larger, wider line of infantry, and having the Gazelle rockets there also to support, theoretically, if they were given any ammunition. Now the Challenger with its Centurion companion moving up and trying to engage the lone T-72 M1 on the field right now, I believe. No, the second one is coming as reinforcements in the middle. But 2v1, oh no, BMP-1 getting a hit in on the Challenger, putting it down on normal cohesion. A second one would be a significant hit towards its cohesion. Second BMP-1 trying its luck there for the moment. And another Harrier is currently kind of hanging around in the back, while the Challenger is just eating these Conqueror's missiles now.
Yeah, needs to smoke off, needs to get the hell out, needs to smoke off. Yeah, another Harrier HE moving around in the rear. AS-90 trying to reposition. Milan 2 guards gets gunned down by the artillery. SPW 70 fighting a Fox in the south. That's likely not gonna end well for the SP 70. But BMP-1 is still around there to stop any infantry from moving. The Centurion got shut down again in the south. MiG-21 BIS coming in here as well. T-72 M1 will go down to these bombs, but the Harrier likely gonna go down as well. The Shilka got stressed, so actually might survive, but MiG-21 likely gonna finish it off here. Oh, not!
The Star Streak!
The Star Streak coming in. Next Harrier HE coming around for the center. T-72M will get its bombs dropped, will get the kill, but this one not gonna survive. Too many Shilkas around. And
there's an elite Shilka already.
Yeah, the Shilkas here have done a lot of damage, and the Centurions now might be good enough to do a bit more damage here, as the T-72 number has dropped significantly. We have a CV one, we have 2 more in the south, we have 1 more coming in the north, but the Challengers have to be repaired, have to be brought back to good cohesion at the same time. We have more guards called Gustav coming in. 10 minutes to go. That's still enough time to get the CV. Sniping the ammunition struck currently with the AS-90 is nice as well, meaning that damage on the units of Scuf does stick, so because he doesn't get repairs on them. But currently most of his units are still in pretty good condition. He still has a couple of other Ural supply trucks around the battlefield as well that still have decent amount of supplies, so for now it's not the end of the world here. BMP-1 engaging the Centurion. Centurion does get away. Terrier scouts getting into the engagement. Mark 13 Centurions engaging all over the place. More guard snipers, more Gazelles coming around, but yeah, really burning the helicopters into the Shilkas all around the map, and the SASGs really killed the momentum here for Stahlbrecher.
Yeah, it's currently there's a huge problem with Stahl, which is that he basically has no recon information. I spotted a T-72 further down south traveling, but right now Stahl is mostly flying blind. Like the infantry in the middle here is kind of the reason for it to be there is to just find enemies and to find enemies for the fire support to shoot. Now the AS-90 just ran out of ammunition. Another Wessex helicopter, a helicopter shaped like a friend, transporting a 12-man air mobile Terrier squad just a bit too close to the front line, unfortunately. The elite Shilka sniping it down, almost sniping it down. No, Wessex, what are you doing? Oh, you're moving back. Okay, that's good.
Chieftain Mark 9 at the same time, though, that's a massive loss. The Chieftain Mark 9s have a decent gun. That's a gun that you, well, especially ammunition, that you need desperately right now here. And once more, the guards get into the same positions that they have been throughout the game, and once more, they will be slowly whittled down by SPW-70s, by the 30mm. The 30mm grenade launcher is the silent hero of this game here, constantly pinning down and grinding down enemy infantry throughout this game. And the infantry of Stahlbecher has in no moment in this game traded positively, and that really has been the sunken cost that has kept his armored and air forces from actually doing the work. The artillery tried to hold against it, and it has done so in a decent state. That's why there is no tick right now for Scoof either, but Scoof did get the tick in the early game because the SASGs allowed it to happen because the front line was too weak, and after the SASGs died, the front line could just be pushed in for a couple of minutes, and now Stahlbrecher is in a desperate state of trying to catch up, and it's not looking good.
Yep, it's the Mi-24P down the southeast actually did a bunch of damage by sinking his missiles into the Challenger Mark II. So the Challenger Mark II right now has to once again retreat and repair, and there's basically no supply coming. Oh, okay, a Wessex supply helicopter coming in at least. And those things have only 750 supply, but at least they get in pretty fast.
Yeah, trying to land close there. Challenger actually falling back even further as the T-72 start to push in, and that's a problem. The Challengers being stunned down is a massive problem. I feel like Stahl would have had to take some more fights towards the flanks. His narrow-visioned fight into the town time and time again just keeps him alive, but it doesn't have a chance of winning. Like, if you want to win against 7th, you need to have the recon positions that the Mod Aufklärer currently holds, or you need to come out of the building complex on the south. And the southern buildings complex he could have had if he left the SASG in it, but he tried to move it further into Foxtrot early on. It got just killed out in the open, 90 points down the drain, and ever since then, Scuff had full control over that building complex, which gave him early warning of any Chieftain and Centurion push, and also a flanking maneuver, and more importantly, the knowledge of his T-72s and T-55s never being side-shotted.
Yep, and oh, the Challenger barely dodging a side shot there, not by its own volition, but by the unreliability of Fagot M missiles. Now, a Tornado once again fighting for a little bit of air control here, but is that really like, are the Hawks, the two Rocket Hawks, are they going to change the game? Are they going to finally break through these lines? I'm thinking like, because Stahl is
just went
playing
down south, so they might actually have a shot there. They also good against the Mi-24P, so that could be a helpful kill there if they could come down on it. But yeah, Stahl is just not playing for the right positions. He's playing for the like directly focusing on the one point that he wants so desperately to have, but he's not really playing for the flanks. This is the final push here now. This is the push that is supposed to work. 4 minutes 32, but there are still a lot of red units here, and he doesn't have smoke. If he would have a mortar right now to smoke the line of sight for his guards, I would even say he would have a fighting chance, but there is no smoke. SU-22 cluster coming down onto the Challenger, gets the kill there. Tornado caught out on the wrong flank. Hawk doesn't do much damage against the T-72 with its rockets, and yeah, the push here just gets bogged down. Centurions getting shut down. Challengers with the half damage repaired. pushed onto the front line as he knows he needs the time on the tick. Doesn't have a CV close to the front line yet either. Humvee CV on the way, but the guards once more not achieving anything. The infantry in this game has been an absolute disaster for Stahlbrecher. Skuf really taking those infantry fights like uh, the, he had that planned out from the get. Like the position of the 30mm grenade launcher here. Perfect. And that is what really dominated this game. The position of the infantry and the waste of Terriers, Airmobiles, SASGs. Like every single infantry engagement in this game has been a disaster for Stahlbrecher. The armor engagements actually have been pretty okay, but he's never got any massive breakthroughs with it. And that is not good enough when you're an infantry division. And in the
Yeah,
heart, it's still an infantry division.
it's like the HDR should just instead of playing HDR, I think Stahl should have just picked an armored division. Those the armored attacks, like what armored divisions were there left? I mean, third armored, 31st. Could have picked 31st. You could have picked no.
Fourth armored would have
Fourth?
been but yeah, in the end, GGVP, we have another finalist. Skoof with a really, really good show here with 7th. Seeing the weaknesses of Stahlbrecher coming out of a terrible air open like engagement in the beginning, like that looked really dicey, but he knew what to do on the ground, and the AS90s here once more doing great work for Stahl, but in the end, Skoof coming out ahead on the ground. The Shilkas with insane kill feats, his 30mm grenade launchers doing a fantastic job, and that was a well executed 7th Panzer. Really, really well done job. The counter battery with the 152mm getting the kill on the AS90, kind of sealing the deal there because those were the units that really did do the grind on him. And with only one AS90, you can't kill tanks. With 2, you can kill T-72s relatively reliably, but with 1, you can only fight the soft targets. And yeah, the 30mm grenade launchers here just with great kill feats, and that it sealed the deal. Well done by Skoof here, but also great series by Stahl. And that means we have another finalist here. Skoof, aka Bubblegun, aka Bigos Geckos, moving on into the grand final here. And Stahlbrecher will have to fight for the 3rd place against Stardeck.
Yeah, it's it should often be noted also that these games were played basically back in back, and we've been here for 4 hours now. I mean, this does take its toll on the players as well. The decision making and the strategizing in the end doesn't necessarily hold up to uh, the the flexibility and the immediacy of thinking that you can have in the very first games. But yeah, I would say that the HDR could have maybe worked out there with by simply like playing it more like an infantry division and trying to use the opener advantage and the momentum advantage in pushing those flanks, and then trying to build that wide front line before 7th Panzer could do that. But instead, the failed infantry investment and then the continuous pushing into the middle to prevent the enemy from completely crushing you, crushing Stahl, then repeatedly just attacking a stronger and stronger and wider front line was unfortunate on Stahl's part. I think Stahl probably could have had a play first Canadian. You want to do air spam, play first Canadian. There was some options there, I think, but nevertheless, I think we saw both the strengths and the weaknesses of HDR pretty well presented there on that Isura game. And also the eternal strength of 7th Panzer, which is to have more tanks out earlier than others.
Yeah, and that means now Mix 90 and Skoof will fight it out for the top 1st place, and with that also $300 plus here now in the prize pool that will go to them. So big thanks once more for everybody who supports the prize pool as well and who helped out with the claim code buttons. thanks to all of you for watching here. This was a lot of fun, and thanks to both players once more, and GGVP to both of them, and congratulations to Scoof making it into another final here. And he will have a tough opponent there in Mix 90, but he showed today that he can grind through. Maybe he needs to clean up a couple of his openers, and then I think he still can give Mix 90 a really, really good run and a good fight there in the grand finals. Tarek versus Stadler here should be an interesting third place match as well. And yep, JGVP to both. And we gonna head out here now. Thanks to all of you for watching. If you want to support the channel, consider following and liking down below. And that said, let's find you a place to go elsewhere, and let's say goodbye here, Chloride.
And yeah, go watch the Chair Company. It's a really funny, really kind of it's a funny thriller with Tim Robinson, and I'm just really into it right now. I'm just really surprised that there are good TV shows coming out. Pluribus is also pretty good.
Yeah. So with that said, we send you over to Vulcan HD Gaming, playing a lot of AU5. So let's see how he holds up with Venice.